It's the 25th of April 2026. This is the big issue on ChannelOne television and on 97.3 City FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Today on the big issue, we'll talk about the big stories, including but not limited to how the continent of Africa came around to support the Rainbow Nation, that is South Africa, and how the Rainbow Nation, perhaps until recently the youngest country on the continent, is fighting people from Africa who have come there to look for a greener pasture. The xenophobic attacks are back and Ghana is in the picture. We'll be talking about that extensively here on the big issue. Another issue that we'll be talking about is the issue around Galamsey. President Akufo-Addo put his neck on the line when he was president to end Galamsey. His office has ended. There's no point keeping his neck around that particular noose. Now we have a new president, John Dramani Mahama. How has the fight against Galamsey been? And then we'll be talking about issues relating to the anti-LGBTQI+ bill. The matter is back on the front burner. How are we dealing with it? Is there even a need to, quote and unquote, waste time to go through the process again when we are told that the previous bill matured and was ready for presidential assent? The big issue is airborne on TV, on radio, and online, and interactive. You're welcome. You're welcome. This is a big issue on ChannelOne television and on 97.3 City FM. Like I said, we have three issues that we are discussing for you. The xenophobic attacks in South Africa and how Ghana is affected, the reactions from Ghanaian officialdom. Then we'll also be talking about the anti-LGBTQI bill currently in Parliament. We'll be looking at the state of affairs in relation to that bill and what the posturing of the government is. And then we'll talk about the fight against Galamsey and the comments that were made by the CEO of the Free Zones Authority against the Presbyterian Church. The Presbyterian Church says because of Galamsey, what do you call it? The Christian process of cleansing to become, the term has just escaped me, but they don't put you in the river for immersion anymore. They have had to adopt other means because of the pollution in the river bodies. So that is an issue that we'll be talking about. But first off, I want to start with South Africa. Our Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has summoned the South African High Commissioner to Ghana, Thando Dalamba, over the xenophobic attacks in their country against a lot of nationals, including Ghanaians. Let's hear what the minister said during a joint Ghana-Sierra Leone Technical and Ministerial Joint Commission in Accra.
It is really condemnable to see that particularly West Africans have come under another round of xenophobic attacks in South Africa. And this time, Ghanaians have been targeted and other nationals from West Africa. Earlier today, I held a meeting with the chargé of the South African High Commission in Accra. Yesterday, I had a telephone conversation with my counterpart, the Foreign Minister of South Africa. And in all of those engagements, Ghana has strongly condemned the xenophobic attacks our nationals have come under. I acknowledge that our counterparts in South Africa have expressed regret, have assured us that there will be investigations and that they will take steps to nip this really condemnable and regrettable xenophobic attack in the bud.
It's encouraged the Ghanaian population that the situation is dire, we understand. Let's continue to be law-abiding. Let's continue to respect the rules and regulations and the rules of engagement as migrant citizens in this country. I think that whatever it is that we do, we've always been noted as Ghanaians to be law-abiding. We've always been noted as being people who don't foment trouble. So let's not go that route yet. Let's continue to engage with them. And I'm sure that it's just a matter of time. Everything will be all right.
So that is the High Commissioner of Ghana to South Africa. Earlier you heard someone, Okudzeto, Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister. Let's start the discussion in studio. I'm going to introduce my guests. I'll start with two guests who are currently in. I'm expecting a few more to join us. To my, well, the one facing me directly is a Ghanaian who has lived in South Africa for 20 years. His name is Abdulkarim Mohammed. Abdulkarim, you're welcome to The Big Issue.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
How is life in Ghana and South Africa, or South Africa, as they say?
Oh, yes. Not so bad.
It's all good, huh?
Yes, very good.
Okay. Kamal Dean is Deputy Director of Communication of the New Patriotic Party. You're welcome, my brother.
Thank you.
How is your party doing?
Terrific.
Terrific or terrible? Which one?
Terrific.
Terrific. Are you sure?
I thought you made me right. I said terrific.
Anyway, you're welcome. Let me start with Abdulkarim. Abdulkarim, first of all, when did you go to South Africa? Why did you go to South Africa?
Yes. Personally, I went to South Africa in 2004. Actually, before I leave, I was a trained mechanical technician. I'm pure technical man, up to date. And I was working in Unilever by then. Actually, I thought the salary was small, was not enough, and all what we hear, if you travel outside, it's easy to continue my education at the same time get a good job. So I decided to go. That was, I think, around September 2004.
So you want to see greener pastures?
Exactly.
Did you find those pastures?
Actually, no, yes and no. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Did all sorts of jobs that maybe I may not do it in Ghana here.
Talk to me about those jobs.
Seriously, if I tell you, I started as, oh my God, as a hairdresser, because that's the only work you go there. Yes, somebody.
Hairdresser or barber?
No, you go, yeah.
Which one? Which one? What
hairdresser, the one the women's wash, they put the cream in the hair.
Yes.
Shampoo. Because I don't know any shampoo, so all what you have to do, they say relax, eh?
Yes,
they relax the hair. Then you have to, some of us who don't know anything about it, because they will just be on the sink to wash the hair of the ladies. Wow. Yes.
So ladies' hair?
Yeah, ladies' hair.
And this was the first job you landed?
The first job I did.
How was it like for you?
Actually, it was very terrible because I cried. There was a day I have to cry because a young girl just raised her hair because I was shy. I don't know how to wash well, so playing with the hair. So he just raised up from the sink. He said, "Hey, gentleman, can't you scrub my hair? Use your fingers to scrub my hair." Oh, please, my brother. I started crying.
Wow. You had, what was your level of education qualification as of that time?
Yeah, at that time, technician, as we call it in HND or Part 3 in mechanical engineering. So I was working in Unilever.
So you had, was it a first degree and HND? What did you
it's an HND.
You had an HND?
Yeah.
And you definitely were not going to South Africa to go and work as a hairdresser?
No.
And you were not even a hairdresser, you were just a hair washer? And from there, what other jobs did you do?
Yes, actually, I was fortunate. I know how to drive before leaving.
Okay.
So the next thing is that you get a car to drive, and you have to get South African licenses. You don't have documents.
You have to drive on the right?
Yes. As for the right, I don't have problem on that, but the licenses. But well, these deals all started long time. There were Ghanaians there who will help you to get licenses. Actually, let me use the word fake. Yes.
Connection license.
Connection license over there.
For you to be able to. So what were you driving? Were you driving their version of trotro or taxi?
Oh yeah, as we call taxi. Yes. In the Eastern Cape.
Oh, that's KwaZulu-Natal.
No. Yeah, Eastern Cape is where that is. Tata, Queenstown.
Okay.
Yeah, that's and the Port Elizabeth.
Okay.
I mean, PE. Port Elizabeth is their regional capital.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where you operated from.
Yes.
Apart from taxi work, what else
I
did you
stopped. Yes, I later got gradually, but then that was around 2004, 2005. It's easy to if applying. Then thank God I got a work at what do you call it, at a packaging company, a place just closer to East London, that's called Gonobi. And because I have an experience here already working in the factory, things started moving. That was where I started, and by that time, doing your papers, documents, it wasn't difficult, like today. You apply, you get it, so I apply. So let me go back, I have to get married. To get
South
it,
Africa?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I got married.
Was that for purpose of, don't worry, the South African immigration officers are not watching. Did you get married for purposes of immigration or genuine love?
Oh, seriously, let me just put it for just immigration.
You needed a paper?
Yes, I just need a
So
paper.
you didn't live with this woman, I'm sure?
No, most of the times,
don't
yes,
even
it's
see
just
the woman?
immigration, but before it's no at all.
Wow. So you have someone you are married to whom you didn't even know on paper?
Yes.
And you had to pay for it, I'm sure?
Oh, yes, you pay for it. Actually, we have different ways of paying. On my case, it did not take me anything. Anytime she needs something, she'll just call me for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she doesn't care because I wasn't doing anything with her, so she would just call me. Even today, I don't have money, me and my boyfriend, yes, I will just send her something.
She's South African?
She's South African. And still, if I tell you still, the marriage is still existing because it's not easy to divorce. It's like I want to divorce, but it's not working.
And she hasn't married to anybody else?
That is the fight now between us.
Because she wants to get married?
She wants to get married, even she have a baby. If I tell you the baby is bear my name.
And it's not your baby?
No. Because in the system, if you're married, if you're married after 5 years, your everything, you the woman, everything have to change to the man's name. Your surname, your everything.
Okay.
So if I tell you this ladies, for the past 205, she's still using an ID book, which is very, very old, but just because she doesn't go for a new one with my name. You understand? And she give birth, they say, oh, send him, you go, so no, yeah, that's a Mohammed. And she doesn't want to get a birth certificate for Mohammed, so the child can go to school. As I say, it's not easy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you. So you have lived in South Africa for 20 years. Yeah. The reason we have you in studio and the reason we are having this conversation is because of what has been happening the past few days. I want you to watch this video briefly, and then we'll come back in studio and I'll ask him what the reality is on the ground for him, because that video has generated lots of discussion. The Nigerians were the first to be attacked by South Africans, and I've seen a Nigerian go on social media to say when they came for them, we were supporting South Africans, and today it had turned. And I've seen multiple videos online which videos show or depict Ghanaians being attacked by South Africans. Now, in one which looked a bit humiliating, the South African gang that had come to accost this gentleman was telling him to go back and go and fix his country. You remember that? Yeah. That fix your country was a very serious phrase that we had in the past. So go back and fix your country. And they went ahead to even advise him that when he comes back to Ghana, Ghanaians should also organize and sack Nigerians so that Nigerians also go back and fix their country. I'm told that that video is not ready immediately. But let me speak to you. Yeah. When you hear about xenophobia, is it a real issue or perceived? Did you live it?
Oh, yes. Actually, it's fully true. Let me go. Deals. Truly speaking, South Africans Southern Africa in particularly, yes, don't like, especially the black Africans.
They don't?
No.
Let me get that video. Let me just get that video briefly. This is a big issue.
My fellow Ghanaians, they are warning us to it's time to go home. So please, let's go home and fix our country.
Thank you.
There was a Ghanaian guy that we met on the street who is a saloon operator.
Okay, you came right. Where are you from?
Ghana. So you left Ghana and you came to South Africa to do hair?
They're carrying buckets now.
No, I purchased for someone.
Okay. What are you doing here? What skills are you bringing into South Africa?
I was doing nails.
Nails? Nails is not a scarce skill. When are you going back to fix your country?
Hey! Talk, quick.
Next month.
Don't tell us next month. We are not foolish. We are not foolish. Let me tell you, Baba. Right now, as South Africans, we don't want you guys here anymore. Go fix your countries, Baba. You see, let me tell you, we're still speaking to you nicely. It's going to get to a point where speaking to you, it won't help.
Where are you staying? Address?
So now you left Ghana, you came to South Africa to do nails.
No,
for nails?
It wasn't purposely for nails, but when I came,
If I may ask you, what visa do you possess to be in South Africa?
It was with holidays.
Holidays. Okay, let me tell you, because of Luna, you are abusing our systems. According to the South African immigration law and home affairs laws, you only have 90 days a year. But Luna, you go to the border, you stamp this thing every month, every 3 months, you stamp this thing. Actually, this we must address with the home affairs and the minister that Luna, you are abusing our systems.
No, but
it's 90 days a year, and you are not here for a visit. You are here to work.
No, leadership, listen to what he's saying. He's saying he was here for a visit. So how come you come here to visit instead of you going back?
Let's call the court. This man is illegal in the country.
We're now with the traveling.
So they are saying you should go back, and you are not going back. What is Luna? Luna is something they
Look.
Look.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
So look, you are not supposed to be in this country.
Yeah.
Have you had this kind of encounter in your 20-year stay in South Africa?
Personally, actually no.
Okay.
It's massive. I think most of them are a little bit fair.
Okay.
So seriously speaking, even there was a day we are from the shop right. The immigrations were all around. The two Ghanaians they just grabbed them and leave me, and I was working with them on the gate.
Because
nobody asked me. I think, I may say, is it because of my color or
your prayer?
It's my prayer. That is,
But so this squad we've just seen interrogating this guy, do we have lots of gangs like that in South Africa?
Oh yes, even their current Minister of Education, sports.
Mm-hmm. He was?
Yeah, he still doesn't like his stand outside. Now currently he's the sports minister, but say it blankly, all of you should go back to your country. He doesn't like, and he is sponsoring them, especially this operation Dudula.
They call it what?
Dudula.
Dudula, that's the name of the...
that's the name of the given.
So you can organize tags and go just start...
Yes, and this particular minister of sports doesn't like, and he's sponsoring them, the groups. They should just sack all foreigners out of the country.
And he's a black man?
Black man. I will say that is colored.
Oh, he's colored?
The Africans.
Okay.
Yeah, the real name is African. The colored, yeah. He doesn't like blacks at all. And truly, I won't blame him alone. I think the system itself, they just want to push it away.
The police cannot help in this
Or even everybody. They just, from down to the foreign or the home affairs minister, nobody. Now the problem is that the gentleman don't have papers. He's struggling because they will never issue any document to you.
But do they collect money from the people to let them, when they harass you like this, would they accept to take money from you, or they will not?
No, the group, they will not take any money. Some they will beat you as for the group, but the police and immigration, if you are not fortunate, you meet one-on-one. Fine, maybe if you are lucky, if you give him something, we'll just leave you to go.
And so these thugs are moving around and harassing people.
Yeah.
And they have statutory sanction, they have statutory support.
Yes, and at times it depends. There are some places that they go. And that is why, let me just put it like that. At times I blame my own brothers and sisters too, because there are a lot of medical doctors, professors, a whole lot of teachers teaching, engineers. Personally, I rose from down and became an assistant production manager in a company in Devon. Nobody has ever touched me, but where they normally operate, our brothers and sisters, that is the problem. You see, have you ever heard that they said a medical doctor in Ghana has been beaten? No, normally it doesn't happen like that. But our young brothers who are in the saloons, mechanics and all that, yes.
I was in Durban. It's a very beautiful place. I love the beach. I'll come back to you. Let's talk about that. Let me go and introduce a few of my other guests. Dr. Osai Kwapon is joining us. He is with the Center for Democratic Development, CDD. Doc, you're welcome to The Big Issue.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and good morning to the other guests.
Good morning to you. I'll engage you in a bit. I want to speak to a former Minister for Home Affairs in South Africa, a medical doctor, and the chairperson of the Africa Prosperity Network Advisory Council, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Ma'am, you're welcome to Channel One TV and CTFM in Accra. Mami, if you can kindly unmute, we cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much for having me, and good morning to all of you and your viewers.
Good morning to you. How is the Rainbow Nation doing this morning? You said to me you were in the Eastern Cape. You're in the village.
Not in the Eastern Cape, in KZN, but where I grew up, where my home is, it's in the deep rural areas.
Oh, so KwaZulu-Natal, that's where you are now.
Yes.
We are watching these videos, very disturbing. For us as Ghanaians, we are unhappy. For us as Africans who helped you gain independence, we are saddened that we helped fight for you when people were discriminating against you, and now your people are discriminating against us. When you watch this as someone who is moving across the continent trying to have a united Africa, how does that come across to you?
Well, first thing, I think we must all decolonize our minds. Because, in Black consciousness, I entered politics through Black consciousness. And we said that our president used to say the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. So we need to decolonize our minds and understand that the first identity that we have, our main identity, is that we're Africans. South Africans, Ghanaians were imposed on us. Our main identity is that we're Africans. That's the first thing I always say to my compatriots, that we are Africans, first and foremost. And therefore, we can't call Africans foreign nationals and then call other people from other continents. We don't call them foreign nationals, but we call Africans foreign nationals. I say it publicly. So it's important, but it's also important that, as one of the speaker before me was saying, there are lots of Africans who work here in different areas. I mean, at some stage, the only people who were helping us, especially in the financial sector, were mainly Africans from other parts of Africa. But the problem comes, I think, when people come illegally. And I think we should separate that. If people are illegal, it's wrong, whoever they are, to be in a country illegally. But if a person is in a country legally, then they have a right to be there because they are there legally.
Okay.
It's just that as I say, until our minds are also decolonized, we may still have this idea of maybe I'm South African, I'm superior or whatever, which is wrong.
Doc,
so, yes.
Does the South African government endorse what we are seeing, even if not at the national level? Do we have officials of government who endorse this? For instance, my guest in studio who has lived in South Africa for 20 years is saying to me that the Minister for Sports endorses these thugs that go around to unleash what we are seeing on the so-called foreign nationals. What is the mindset within the government officially and unofficially on dealing with these attacks on foreigners?
Officially, we shouldn't be doing this. The minister he's talking about is using it to campaign for his party, belongs to some small party. And I think it's his way of campaigning or of trying to get votes for his party, which is wrong. But as the government, I'm not in government anymore, but as in the governing party, we don't endorse this at all. We're against it.
But what efforts have been made to fight it at the state level? Because this has been happening for years now. We saw it against Nigerians, and we now are also victims of it. Because the police, either they are complicit or they simply do not care watching these things happen.
Well, they should care if somebody is being assaulted in a country as police, and if they don't do it, it means somehow. But they should be. You know, for instance, when I was once Home Affairs for a short while, my view was those who are in the country legally, they have a right to be here. Those who are here illegally, the law says you must deport them back to their country. But there was a time when there were lots of Zimbabweans in South Africa, but South Africans were exaggerating and saying there are 5 million Zimbabweans in South Africa who are here illegally. And then I said, okay, let's call all of them, let them register. So we registered them. I think we didn't get past 200 and something thousand, not the 5 million they were talking about. And then we talked to the Zimbabweans. Why are they here without passports? And then it turned out that at the time, it was the time when Zimbabwe was going through a very difficult patch. They were not able to issue passports. So we then had a joint committee with the Zimbabwean Foreign Home Affairs Minister and us to then see how we sort this out. And those that were registered were then legalized. And then we got the government, assisted the government to issue passports to their citizens.
Okay. I have one question for you before you take leave of us. Do you think South Africa as a nation owes Africa an apology for what is happening there, even though it does not have governmental endorsement? At least the government of South Africa should apologize to Africa, considering the support that Africa gave South Africa to be independent.
Well, I sometimes tell even ordinary South Africans that, you know, during apartheid, these countries actually endorsed the passports that they were not valid for South Africa during apartheid, because the countries did not want to support the apartheid government. They didn't even allow their citizens to come to South Africa at the time. And so when we were free, after they had fought for us, it's obvious that they will even have curiosity to just come and see this country that they were not allowed to visit during the struggle. So I think maybe these things should just be discussed broadly amongst, maybe even amongst heads of state, must just be discussed broadly.
Very well.
And a solution be found.
Thank you so much.
I know when I was in Addis, this kind of thing happened, and I called them. I called South Africa, and I said, "What do you want the Ethiopians to do to me here in Ethiopia when you are doing that to Ethiopians in South Africa?" Oh, I said, you think you are in an island and you are a different. We are Africans. I'm in Africa, in Ethiopia, and nobody's harassing me here. I'm working peacefully. Why are you doing what you're doing there? You know, so I think it's something that just needs to be discussed broadly, openly, but also citizens, all citizens from the continent must enter each country legally.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc, for speaking to us.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
That's Dr. Dlamini Zuma, former Minister for Home Affairs of the Republic of South Africa. And she currently chairs the Africa Prosperity Network's Advisory Council, which is seeking to have a common Africa, or Africa, as they say in South Africa. Let me hear from Dr. Osai Kwapon and then come back in studio and get comments and reactions to this. Doc, you've listened to Dr. Zuma, you've listened to Abdul Karim in studio, you've seen the story around South Africa. Should we say to our people that don't go, or we should rather say to the South Africans that, hey, we are a global village now, we should work together?
It's the issue of immigration and how host nations treat immigrants, you know, every so often comes up where the host nation, whether as a matter of policy or as a matter of how their own citizens perceive some of these immigrants come up, creates all kinds of tensions. There are politicians in some of these countries who end up weaponizing the issue of immigration for votes and all of that. So it puts you in a situation where, for me, when I watch these disturbing videos, there's a part of me that says, for the safety of our own and our own fellow Ghanaians, for example, you want to encourage them to say, you know, stay safe over there, and if there's an opportunity for you to come back home, do that. And then those who are currently in Ghana and thinking that this may be an opportunity to explore, you want to throw them a little bit of caution. But as the other guest in the studio said, if you also look at who this is happening to, it appears from the videos that I've seen that it is targeted more at what we would call your blue collar, low skill type persons. But it is also difficult to say to people, don't quote unquote go seeking greener pastures, right? Because you don't know the economic circumstances that they face and the lack of opportunity that drives them to make the decision of leaving a place they call home, like Ghana, and then going to, quote unquote, seek greener pastures somewhere else. So there's that one side of it, which is you want to say, stay, see how best, you can manage in a place like Ghana, or if you're over there and safety is really becoming an issue, is there a way to come back home? Still taking into consideration what one's economic circumstances are that drives them to emigrate to another country. But I think the South African government also has a responsibility in all of this. Even as a matter of whether it's their immigration policy, my biggest concern is in all of these things happening, where are state institutions like the police? Because one or two of the videos, I said to myself, 1-2 more kicks and this person can just die in broad daylight. Mm-hmm. And so there is that law enforcement piece of it that until some other policy solution is found to this, I think the immediate reaction should be from the South African state itself, should be greater law enforcement. And so you also ask yourself, is it that law enforcement is unaware, they don't care, they don't think that they should try and stop this? What are the reasons fueling this sort of continued behavior. And it also seems like every so often it comes up, because we've seen this a couple of years before, and then it appears it would die down, at least from a public point of view. It seems like it dies down and then it erupts again, and it keeps, you keep going through this cycle, and you say to yourself, at what point does the state of South Africa find some lasting solution to it?
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting. When I was listening to the doctor who is now part of also the Africa Prosperity Network, when I started seeing these videos, they came to mind because of some of the conversations they are trying to push across the continent, and some of the initiatives that they are trying to push, a borderless Africa and things like that. So then you say to yourself, in the midst of different stakeholders across the continent engaging in such conversations,
right,
and then you see these things, how do you reconcile?
Okay.
How do you reconcile them?
Thank you. Thanks so much, Doc. Let me go around the table and hear comments, and then I'll conclude Abdul Karim, then we bring this conversation to an end. First of all, welcome Hamza Suhuyini of the NDC.
Thank you, my brother.
And welcome Paul Adom-Otchere of Good Evening Ghana Metro TV.
Thank you very much.
They say you want to run for a GSU, is it true?
No, I'm not commenting on that. That's not why I'm here.
I'm just asking.
They've been saying I've been running for a GSU since 2008.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
Oh, okay. So you're not running for a GSU? Paul, you trained me to ask questions. I'm asking you the same questions.
I'm saying that question has been coming up since 2008.
Oh, okay.
And then in 2012, every election season that comes up. So as soon as constituency executives are preparing to elect, they call me, are you running for a GSU? Are you running for a GSU? Let's talk about xenophobia and the OSP.
Let me start with Kamaldeen. Kamaldeen, yes, you've listened to someone who stayed in South Africa, Ghanaian, for 20 years, and you've also heard from Dr. Zuma and Dr. Kwapong. How do we deal with this South African problem? And our Minister for Foreign Affairs, is the action he's taking in right order?
Yes, Dr. Sai started off with a question, or he asked a question in the course of his delivery. Mm-hmm. What would actually be the edge for someone to leave a place called home to go in search for greener pastures where he thinks they may be hostile towards him or her? It tells us that not just only South Africa, many Ghanaians have actually traveled out to many countries. I was privy to what is happening in the Middle East. For instance, in Saudi Arabia alone, we had over 15,000 Ghanaians working there. And it's just basically for menial jobs, these menial jobs, unskilled labor, domestic, assistance and all those things. And the kind of inhumane treatment they go through, you have no idea. Just because some of these things are not reported, we don't really see it. But I am happy that today we have had cause to discuss this because of what is happening in South Africa. I believe in other areas. That's why I'm trying to prompt or to kind of let authorities know that we need to let our eyes also go to some of these countries. But you see, what is happening in South Africa, for me, I was appalled when I saw the video. And like you rightly stated, it hasn't just started. Since 1994, that we've started having reports of xenophobic, attacks, as it were. You mentioned Nigeria. Other countries have been affected. Zimbabwe, Mozambique, all that. This brings to fore the call for us to have a continental approach, okay, to engage South African authorities on this matter as Africans. I mean, that's what, for me, should be done. If we really want to nip this in the bud, we really want to get some of these things solved. It's not enough to have our foreign affairs minister talking to the foreign affairs minister of South Africa.
Should we retaliate?
No. As I said, you see, if it keeps going and there's no this continental approach, deliberate approach, okay, all coming together to say, look, we're all Africans. This is what is on the table at AU. We're discussing this. We're discussing no borders. We're discussing how we are going to allow our citizens to live together in harmony, all these things. But this is happening in that country. That is happening in that country. How can we all stop it? So if that coordinated approach is actually given, I want to believe that such a continental coordinated approach will be able to solve this.
So the AU should step in.
Of course. You see, there should be a proposal on the table of the AU. So I would appeal to our foreign affairs minister not to just start it or end it with the discussion we have with South Africa. That is why maybe the foreign affairs minister in Nigeria might have done something some time ago. Zimbabwe might have done something some time ago. But let's coordinate it as a continental body. Okay? So that when we all agree, I think basically we're going to have some of these problems solved and nipped in the bud. But you see, the pictures I saw were really, really, really bad. And my brother gave a very telling story of how people, you know, are harassed and how they live in South Africa. I'm talking about Karim's submission. Okay, if indeed that is what is going on, there's a lot happening that we do not even know. So once again, it is not just enough for us to speak to this matter, get our foreign affairs minister, get the High Commissioner of South Africa in Ghana, get the High Commissioner of Ghana in South Africa to just talk to each other, and it ends there. Many of these citizens who come in, we don't even know where they live. I've been to South Africa, I've been to Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, and all those places. Ghanaians scattered all over. Okay, how well are we even coordinating? How well are they even registered? Who knows their existence or their living there and all that? Many people go through a lot and then they don't say it. So for me, it is important that this matter that has come up, we should not just discuss it and then end it there as a people now. We should find a way of getting our foreign affairs minister, inviting other countries who have actually been victims to some of these things, come together, discuss it, get to the AU table, discuss it with South African bodies and other countries where this is happening, then we can solve this once and for all.
Paul, has South Africa betrayed Africa?
Well, it's an interesting question, and it's a multi-million-dollar question. Because I'm going to take it always as I do from a historical perspective. When 70 years ago, there were those African thinkers who opposed, as it were, the attainment of political independence, that it was important for us to have economic structure settled. In Ghana, there was a big conversation. There were those who felt that taking ownership of cocoa, its processes, and its supply chain was more important than political independence, because political independence will always have to sit on an economic strength. If we don't find the economic strength, we may get political independence, but we'll never be independent. 70 years on, those words are reverberating in our ears. We're making a point this week that the problem that we have seen with the African Renaissance over the last 100 years, that it has been very rhetoric heavy and systems low. So if you look at the colonial enterprise, which lasted for 100 years, it was very low on rhetoric, but it was big on systems. All of us who went to secondary school learned about indirect rule. People sat in London and designed a policy called indirect rule, led by Lord Lugard. They piloted it in Nigeria, then they brought it to Gold Coast, then Sierra Leone and Kenya and all of those places. This was a system that was thought about by clever, young, intelligent people, all of which we all have. And they were able to run a system for 100 years without rhetoric. Following after that, that system was overthrown with the rhetoric of independence. The rhetoric of independence with Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia, later on Robert Mugabe, Kwame Nkrumah and his friends, all of that. Independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it's linked with the total liberation of the African continent. We're going to show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Rhetoric lasts, and that rhetoric has lasted for 70 years, but there's no system to support it. And so we can say today, every independence, we play it again. How should we for 70 years be playing the same independence rhetoric? That still has not reverberated with our society.
Without building the system to support.
Nothing has happened because the foundations were wrong. Economics first. That's what we have to begin to understand as an individual, as a company, ChannelOne TV, as a region. Everything is economics first. If you don't get that and you are excited by political rhetoric, and we see it election over our democracy, political rhetoric, it means nothing. When you say it has to be a building. You want me to explain political rhetoric?
When you say economic first, in fact, when I was in secondary school, there are these boys who jokingly say we should have delayed. Nkrumah was in a hurry. We should have waited for us to be developed like South Africa before we sack the white.
I don't think that's...
Is that what you are saying?
No, certainly not.
So which one is the economic?
Certainly not. I'm saying that in 1938, Dr. Dankwa brought out the idea of the cocoa marketing board. Let's seize cocoa. Today we are beginning to capture gold. We could have done it 70 years ago. Let's have control over our resources. if you get political independence, but Newmont, Goldfields, Anglo Gold are controlling your resources, you are not independent at all. So nobody was saying Nkrumah should wait. It was saying that let's spend those energies at the time. By that time, Ghana had the University of Ghana. Ghana had Cocoa Marketing Board. The Bank of Ghana was ready. Let's deal with these things and make sure that Ghanaians are holding the commanding heights of the economy. Since we got independence, the only institution over which we have had control has been cocoa. Because in 1938, somebody felt that we should create a cocoa marketing board. These were the conversations then that, wait, independence will come in the shortest possible time. Let's sort out our development, our forests. How do we take control of our resources? We didn't do that. We allowed the resources to be taken because we wanted political announcement. And so the colonial master said, announcement is all you need. Fair enough. There's a conversation between Winston Churchill and American President Richard Nixon. It's written in Nixon's book. I won't say it here. People should read Nixon. I think it's on page 100. Nixon's book. Churchill was on a sick bed and he went to see me and said, what do you think of the Gold Coast? She listened to what Churchill said. He predicted everything that the Gold Coast was going to do. He said the Gold Coast was not going anywhere.
What you are proposing, is that not what Zimbabwe tried with the nationalizing the farms and all of that, and we've seen the repercussion that they are suffering?
So it is.
But if we try to do that, say new ones go, all of you people
no,
go.
You can't. No, you are not saying go. You are developing your expertise, whether it's training, a lot of which Kwame Nkrumah tried to do. If you look at Cocoa Board, since independence, we've had a Cocoa Board team in London that have been trained in cocoa futures. So 20 years ago, since 20 or 25 years ago, Ghana was able to do its own cocoa futures. That means bankers who are predicting what's going to happen. Ghana has that in London. It's funded by the government of Ghana. So it's not about sack them. It's about, do we have mining? Somebody published something on social media the other day that if you go to Germany and you are looking at the curricula of school, in class 2, they teach them surface mining. In Germany, class 2, they teach them surface mining. It's on the curricula. How do you do surface mining? Then they'll go, is guys come, Guten Tag, something, and they learn. They don't have surface mining there, but they teach them. Why is our education curricula not having these things in there so that by the time somebody has finished WASI, yes, we teach colors too. By the time somebody has finished WASI, when he hears of Darmine mine has been acquired by a Ghanaian and he's 18 years old, he understands it.
And he'll be happy.
He'll be happy. And he has an opinion about it. We don't do any of those things in our curricula because the curricula was handed over to us. These are the comments that were made 70 years ago that let us sort our system out. Economics first. We didn't do it.
Now, to South Africa.
Yes. So now we have political independence. And then we have a lopsided development agenda because some people have developed South Africa. And so we want to go there. The same thing happened in Europe. By the time Europe turned to the European Union about 20 years ago, they noticed that some of the Eastern European countries were not as economically prosperous as the Western European countries. But Western European countries had enough money to look after all of them. So they passed laws. So in England, if you're a Polish and you come to London, you are a British. You can work as a British. If you are a Danish and you come to London, you are from Lithuania or you are from Norway and you come to London, they were able to pass those laws because they realized that there's sufficient wealth in Western Europe to look after all the people in Eastern Europe. Does Africa have the same situation? No, we don't. Does Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Djibouti, Congo, can they look after the rest of Africa? No. Can Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, and Sudan look after the rest of Africa? No, they can't.
So we all are, they can, but they don't have a plan.
All of us are in an economic quagmire. So we can just appeal to South Africa and hope that something will happen whilst we hurriedly prepare the economic situation. But the economic situation I'm talking about has already been recognized in West Africa. In fact, that was the first story we did when CTFM started. The first news story was the ECHO. The South African, the West African, that was a Bernard story. I remember that clear. That was the first story we did.
20 years ago.
Yes, we were talking about the ECHO because we went far and came back and now recognize that, look, until we have an economic stabilization, we are not going anywhere. So West Africa said that we are uniting West Africa, but first, let's have a currency called the ECHO. For us to have the currency called the ECHO, everybody's GDP must be at this. Everybody's debt to GDP ratio must be as this. Everybody's democracy must be at this. So we set standards for the countries. It's been 30 years now. Where's the ECHO? That should be our concern. Why is ECOWAS not having emergency meetings about what is happening to the ECHO? What is happening? Why is it that Liberia is not able to meet the GDP requirements and threshold of the ECHO? Ghana is not able to meet the GDP requirements and threshold. These are the teething questions we should be asking ourselves. Otherwise, Every 5 years, we'll come back to this conversation. 5 years ago, we were here. South Africa, xenophobia. 5 years on, we are here again. 5 years' time, we'll come back to it again until such a time that we understand that our solution is economic and right the wrongs of 70 years ago, drop the rhetoric and start doing real thinking that creates systems.
Let me bring in Hamza. Hamza Suhuyini. Government to government, is that how we should deal with this, or continent to government?
Good morning to you once again, of course, my colleagues in the studio and Awchere. Umaru, I think that it is both. In the sense that, on one hand, the government of the Republic of Ghana is mandated under the Constitution of this Republic to pursue the interests of the Ghanaian. And so, in doing so, one would expect that it would be government to government in this particular respect because of the events in South Africa. However, knowing that we are not in isolation and also given cognizance to the pride of place Ghana played in terms of the anti-colonial drive that eventually led not just to the independence of Ghana, but to the independence of many other African countries, including South Africa, because we still remember the leading role His Excellency of blessed memory, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, played in relation to his contributions and of course that of Ghana in ending apartheid. So we cannot pretend that this is just a government-to-government impasse that needs an engagement between the governments. But we also must appreciate that in the collective, it has to do with the entirety of the continent, especially considering the fact that Ghana led the entirety of the African continent to chalk a major victory in the last United Nations engagement on the issue of reparations when it comes to slave trade. So clearly, it is a double-edged sword. Depending on how we are able to maneuver our way through it is critical. But I trust the judgment of this administration, the president. I trust the judgment of the minister responsible for finance, because he also has a better appreciation of the African and local dynamics.
Can we fix our economy and our country like those South Africans were saying to the Ghanaian? They said, go back and fix your country. Can we fix it and so that we don't have to run away?
Umaru, that question for me is not the bane of contention, because I believe that there are South Africans who are also in Ghana trying to make ends meet. So it is not just an issue of development in Ghana or South Africa. It is rooted in history, like Senior Paul indicated. It is rooted in history. But you see, where I disagree with my senior is the attempt to create a dichotomy between economic independence and political independence. These two extremes might appear quite simple, but in reality, you would succeed at nothing if you seek to pursue one, especially if you take into consideration the colonial atmosphere at the time. If you do not have political power, how do you influence decisions that would ultimately hand over the economic heights of the country to you? It's not as if it was not attempted. So the most important consideration at the time was, first of all, for you to attain that political power which gives you the right to distribute the assets or resources of the state.
Seek ye first the political
Absolutely. Freedom. And it's even in first year in political science, we are made to understand.
Yes.
We are made to understand.
We are still seeking political freedom?
No, come on.
Even after 69 years?
Come on, please.
No, I'm just asking. I mean,
it's
important, but of course, where we are now is not political.
I have given him authorization to ask you the question.
That's
so
now
69 years.
So, Umaru, that is critical. And even at the time we were demanding for political independence, we knew that the economic order was not going to be a short or an easy one. And that was the reason why Nkrumah even wrote that book, Imperialism, the last stage of colonialism. Because we understood that we're in a global architecture. And even though attaining global political independence within our various states, the economy was shaped by global events, and most predominantly by the Western powers. And so we're going to work in that particular architecture. And if care was not taken, even that global economic trajectory could be used to still influence our internal economies. And that is what is happening today.
Okay.
So we have moved to another stage of activism, which is how to eventually take control of our economic powers, our economic situation. And that is why the issue of African unity continues to be critical. Because as a major bloc, we would be able to effectively participate in that particular engagement. And that dovetails into the events in South Africa. On another platform with my brother Kamal, I cautioned that if you look at the xenophobic attacks in South Africa, there would be the tendency for you to conclude that, oh, this is a simple matter. It is not that simple, though it appears simple. It is complex. It is not simple because, you see, it is not just a matter that we can sit here and begin throwing salvos at South Africa, if indeed we are Pan-African in thought and in action, without appreciating the peculiar experiences of the good people of this South Africa. Umaru, oh no, but that would, at least, I've just started. I listened to all of them.
I gave you equal amount of time. But you're actually taking more than...
Absolutely.
So you wrap up for me.
Yes, okay, that's fine. You see, Umaru, you see, if you look at what happened in South Africa, the experiences cannot be the same. I read a book, Richard Dowden, Africa, the title is Africa, Altered States, Ordinary Miracles. And he gave an insight into the peculiar experiences of South Africa, especially during the period of apartheid, and compared that to many of our anti-colonial struggles against supremacy power in Africa those days. We must not lose sight of that fact. So you have given them a culture that has made them accept some white people as major stakeholders as far as the South African political economy is concerned. That's one. And they have lived under their dictates for decades before apartheid was ended. So many of them are orientated in ways that can be injurious to the African project. So even in our condemnation of the xenophobic attacks, we must not lose sight of the responsibility placed on us as other African countries in appreciating the peculiar nature of the challenges they faced and how it still operates on their psyche as a people of South Africa. That is not an excuse for the xenophobic attacks. Absolutely not.
Thank you.
And that is the reason why it is a double-pronged approach. Whilst demanding accountability for Ghana, Ghana must also be interested in partnering with South Africa to see how we can eventually nip this in the bud and project the African objective. And that is the objective of this government, as manifested even in the condemnation of the minister responsible for foreign affairs. But political independence is key.
Very well. Thank you, Hamza. Let me conclude. Abdul Karim, you are half Ghanaian, half South African by law.
I'm sure after this program, you'll not be able to go back.
If you go back, they'll arrest you.
So we are not in charge of exposing ministers.
You have stayed there for 20 years. Yeah. You say that sometimes our people also go to places that they shouldn't go. You blame our people to an extent?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm saying so, yes, because, you know, South Africa is a country, whether you are a citizen, a foreigner, after 8 o'clock, no way, impose curfew on yourself. Don't go out. I went there 2:04 up to date. That is how it is.
You must sleep after 8?
No, yeah, you have to be indoors.
Why?
After 8 o'clock, yeah, that is how the country is.
Because of crime rate?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not because of where you are from?
No. But most of our brothers, seriously, let me just use one example. I don't drink alcohol, but we hear somebody will go there within 6 months. It is in tree. How did they say it? Inside drink is so cheap because they just buy pack. Even if you live with them in a flat, you see that you will just come. They don't go. Yeah, I see my brothers go and buy one bottle or something, but no. Coming with the food.
Yeah. Food does it.
Yes, 6 or 8. You see? So enabling.
What's wrong with that, by the way?
No,
I want to understand.
No,
what's wrong with somebody buying a carton of beer and taking it to his house?
Yes, I'm saying so just because of because of things are cheap, things are like this. So let me go here, this particular place. Seriously, as I'm saying, there are a lot of medical doctors, lectures over there. Have you ever heard of them? No, don't go there.
Yeah.
They don't go to those places. Yes, exactly.
So we should advise ourselves when we are there.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Ghana government, what should we do? If we were to advise the government of Ghana, what should we do in this matter? Should we just go and bring everybody home?
I don't think it will work. Okay. I think The
Should we also attack South Africans here?
No,
okay.
I will not support that.
Very well. Will you go back to South Africa?
Oh, yes, yes. I have a permit. I can always go there, although I've stayed there for some 20 plus years, and I'm establishing businesses here.
Okay.
No, I'm still going there and come.
Very well.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
That's Abdulkarim Mohammed. He is a Ghanaian who has lived in South Africa for 20 years and is in between the two. This is a big issue on 97.3 CTFM on Channel One television. When we return, we'll talk about Galamsey and how this government is fighting it. Please stay. Talk about the Galamsey menace now and how this government is fighting it. The Pentecost Church is in the news because it appears that the worship of God has been hampered by activities of illegal miners, where they're saying that even the river bodies that they used to do baptism by immersion, they cannot do anymore as a result of the challenges. So I've reconstituted my panel now. I still have Kamal Dean in studio, I have Adom-Otchere, and I have Hamza Suhuyini. But I have two more people joining us. Paa Kwesi Schandorf speaks for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Paa Kwesi, you're welcome.
Yeah, my pleasure, sir, man.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Awula Serwah is coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
The statement that was made by the church about the fight against Galamsey, as an advocate in the space, watching this government's handling of Galamsey, would you say the points were in order, or you would side with the Free Zones Board CEO?
Well, what I would say is that God mandated us, Christians, to take care of the environment. And taking care of the environment obviously entails ensuring that our forests, our water bodies are clean, fit for purpose. So I think that the church should be at the forefront of the battle or the fight against illegal mining. I know of a few men of God who have been speaking about this matter, but we have to be consistent about speaking out against it. For example, in Jema, in the Iowin district, it's the only community that has no mining there. And that is because of, first of all, the visionary chief, but also because of Father JB. He's a Catholic priest. And he's been a community champion, mobilizing the people, talking about care for creation and ensuring that there's no illegal mining there. So he's been consistent, whether NPP administration, NDC administration, he's been consistent that if we say we are worshiping God, it's not just a question of going to church, making so much noise, keeping everybody awake, as if God is deaf. It's also a question of taking care of his creation. And therefore, what I would say is that the Church of Pentecost is free to speak, that's freedom of speech, and they have every right to talk about the state of the environment. I'm a little surprised at the response because I think that it's in order that they are speaking out. It's just that we wish they had started speaking out much, much earlier.
You think they've been silent for a long time?
Well, I have obviously, maybe it hasn't been in the news, but I recall one or two priests talking about the state of the economy.
I think the Catholic Bishops Conference
has done very well.
So is the Pentecost Church?
Yes, so I'm saying the Catholic Bishops Conference has done very well. And they even had the walk. I was it 2 years ago or so, or last year. They have done very well. I'm just saying that I'm not saying they haven't, but I haven't heard the Church of Pentecost being very vocal about the fight against illegal mining. But they're free. Thank you for letting me in. I said I haven't. I didn't say they haven't. But they are free to speak at any time. And they have a duty. They have a duty to speak out. So I'm glad they spoke out.
Does it come across as hypocritical, like the lady?
I did not think it was hypocritical at all. That was the last adjective I'd use to describe what they said. I think that they were right. They have to speak out. And everybody should speak out, especially people who make a claim to godliness, because as I've said, being a child of God is not just a question of screaming and keeping everybody awake, but we need to protect God's creation. So I'm glad they've spoken out. And I'm a bit surprised at the response.
Do you agree, though, the substance of the issue they raise, that the water bodies have become very bad, so bad that it's difficult for baptism to happen?
Well, you see, it's not just about baptism. I mean, let's look at it. Water is life. So it's not just about baptism. It's about our survival. I keep on saying, like a sport record, that we are facing an existential threat. We will all die if we just sit by as our water bodies are being poisoned. So it's not just about baptism. It's about survival. I was in Chibi a few weeks ago, and I'm told that they haven't had water since September because of the state of the turbidity levels and things like that. So we are in a dire situation and we have to be speaking out. And yes, my information is that about 60% or so of our water bodies are poisoned. So that's why when we had the dialogue with the president on 30th March, we asked that the water, it should be, I'm sure Ghana Water has a duty to do so. So the water is being analyzed. We need to have the results published, so Ghanaians know exactly what the state of the water, not just the turbidity levels. We're talking about the heavy metals, the toxins as well. And the president agreed. What we are waiting for is when it will actually be done. You might all recall that many years ago, when the Volta Dam was low, we used to publish the level of the water. And we are saying do the same thing with the water. Because Ghanaians seem to have become a bit complacent. And we think that when the water, in some cases, we've heard that, the water is getting clearer. Let's be very clear. It's not just about the color of the water. Look at the sky water here. The fact that it's clear does not necessarily mean that it's safe. Because as we all know, mercury, cyanide, arsenic do not have a color.
Now, you've heard former President Akufo-Addo, before he became president, say that he was putting his neck on the line for the fight of Galamsey. He is gone now. There's a new president. What's the seriousness level of this government based on everything you know as an activist and an advocate in the fight against Galamsey? Do you consider this government more serious than the previous government, or as serious as the previous government, or not serious at all?
Well, what I would say is that His Excellency President Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line. I believe that was in 2017? Yes. And when he did, unfortunately, things seem to have gone from bad to worse. We all saw Professor Frimpong Boateng's reports. Now, this current administration, when in opposition, we had members of, high-ranking members like Sam George saying that the president was commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If he wanted to end Galamsey, he could do so in, was it 4 weeks, 4 months? I can't recall. But he was saying that.
1 week.
Thank you very much. He was saying he could do so in a very short time. Now we're being told, as my brother tells me, that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So I'm not sure what has changed. But all I'll say is that what was important to the current administration has been done. E-levy, which was not causing an existential threat,
was removed.
Betting tax, which was not killing anybody, has been removed. But what is causing a threat to life? We know that the number of kidney disease cases have gone up 4-fold, according to Adom-Otchere Hospital. We know about neurological disease. We know that our food is being poisoned. And
so priority issues.
I'm not saying that no measures are being taken. That would be very, not just ungracious. Yes, measures have been taken. But what are the effects? We know, for example, that our water bodies are not getting any better. We know that, for example, what was this assembly which was taking tax for Chan fans? Was it Amensie? And at the dialogue, we had asked why is the DCE still at post? Because we are supposed to send in a message that if what you are doing is flying contrary to what the president wants done, then you should not be there. But we're told that it was not just that administration, but it was widespread, and they were going to be educated. You see, I'm a bit surprised that anybody who has risen to the level of MCE or DCE doesn't know that if, for example, a Chan fan has been banned, you cannot be taking tax from it. It's been banned. So anybody who has it should be dealt with. So I'm kind of worried that it seems that persons who should be dealt with are not being dealt with, giving the impression that we are not particularly serious. Now, I've talked about Gemma, where there's no illegal mining because of the chief and Father JB. Now, I want to talk about Atronsu. In Atronsu, the activists who were actively fighting against illegal mining to protect the Atronsu stream, the only source of drinking water in the area. Water is life. They rather, not during this administration, during the past administration, were arrested for allegedly destroying excavators which were being used to destroy the landscape. It's like an armed robber complaining that the getaway car has been destroyed, and then the persons who were fighting back have been arrested whilst the armed robbers are walking free. Be that as it may, they are being prosecuted. We've asked that the charges should be dropped, because what kind of message are you sending to communities? First of all, they deny the charges, but what message are you sending when communities who are trying to protect the environment. They are rather being prosecuted, whilst those who are poisoning us, those who are causing ecocide, the environmental terrorists are walking free. So there are things that need to be done to assure Ghanaians that the political will is there.
Paa Kwesi Schandorf, your Ministry of Lands, you're supposed to prevent the environmental terrorists from destroying our environment, but they appear to be walking freely. And the verdict from the church is not particularly good for the government's fight against Galamsey. What have you put down over the past 15 months?
Well, so Maro, first off, good morning to yourself and to the rest of our audience who are connected across the globe. I want to start my submission by first commenting on an issue Awula Serwah raised, the Atronsu matter. So on Jima, for example, somewhere, I think in October, we were there, we observed the commitment of the local folks in, fighting illegal mining, and it was very commendable. Indeed, if we have all chiefs across board, I mean, mounting that same level of momentum, I'm sure we would be making a lot of progress.
But we give you money, and you have soldiers whom we pay. You have all the, in fact, the minister has just been quoted as saying the president, who is commander-in-chief, can do this within 1 week.
So yeah, that's true, but
you can do prayers, you can advise people, but you have the brute force. You can use that to fight.
But if you look at the raft of interventions that government has rolled out, I think even in the past and what we are doing now, and you examine all of them, and at the end of the day, there's still local complicity, if I have to put it that way. You're not going to go anywhere, because the truth of the matter is that, and it's unfortunate if I have to put it that way, if you go to many of the mining communities where illegal mining has become very prominent, it is the locals who actually enable it. And that's why I'm saying that the effort from Jima is actually very commendable. But on the Atronsu issue, so, I mean, Awula has been talking to us about it. The minister has given the assurance that the charges will be dropped, because indeed, if you look at the merits of the issue, they were not the ones who were actually doing anything wrong. We've initiated conversations with the AG's office, and I want to believe that, I don't want to give a specific date, but maybe before we enter the next half of the year, this matter should be over and done with. Now,
that's assurance the AG has given you?
Yes.
Is it going to be nulli prosecutor, or the
obviously, because if you want to drop the charges, you just
can do that on Monday. You don't have to wait till the end.
Exactly. I mean, but you would also want to examine the issue properly. Like I said, I conveyed that to the minister. The minister has initiated the talks with the AG, and so there would be good news very soon. The charges would be dropped. That
Kamal has a question for you. I've given him power of attorney.
You're still examining the issue, which means that it is something you consider as a matter, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And at the same time, you're telling us you're considering getting the AG to file a nulli prosecutor. So which is which? What's the point?
No, it's basically the same. I'm saying that this matter has come up before. So when it came up,
if the conclusion is that we want a nulli prosecutor for that, you go
yes,
on.
it will be done. But I'm saying that
it's taking forever. If you have agreed that you are doing it, then do it already.
No, it's not taking forever.
Great cost to the activist.
It is not taking forever. Let us conclude on this note. There's the commitment for the charges to be dropped, so it will definitely be dropped.
When?
That would be done.
When?
I'm saying the difficulty in assigning a specific...
Not for the Minister of Attorney General and Justice.
But he has
they are done with their work. It has been forwarded to the
But the AG has given him an assurance.
Yes.
So, but that is why I'm saying that if you want clarity on when the charges will officially be dropped, it should be the AG. They have done their work. They have reached the conclusion that they can only make an appeal to the AG.
Exactly.
You have been saved by your lawyer.
So the assurance is that yes, it will be dropped. But to the substantive, the fight against illegal mining, the question is that why are we not protecting or preserving the environment? From the time the new government took office up to now, the truth is that so much has been done during the period under review. But if you look at the menace of illegal mining properly, from where I sit, I mean, for the fact that I get to sit in meetings, hear the security briefings and all of that, I think we have come to a point where we have to, as a matter of necessity, I want to use the, construct it properly. I think we need to, I don't want to say take politics away from the fight against illegal mining, because when you do that,
you cannot.
We will
not allow you to.
When you do that, but I can say it. When you do that, it would seem as though, I mean, in the past there was politics. Now we are asking for the politicization should go.
But that's the truth.
But the truth of the matter is that if you look at the reason illegal mining still continues to fester, it's because everybody is involved.
Yeah, you've always known this when you're in opposition.
When I say everybody is involved, I mean to say specifically that there are journalists who are
I am not involved. Are you involved?
Yes, there are journalists, a lot of journalists involved. Yes, there are journalists involved.
But how do they get involved? They act on the ground, or they don't report, or they cover it up?
I'll give the details. So there are journalists involved.
Very important.
There are pastors involved.
Regional ministers.
There are imams involved.
Regional ministers are more important than the pastors and journalists you are mentioning. Regional ministers are involved. DCs are involved.
I mean, across both.
Journalists.
Everybody.
Journalists.
Everybody is.
You don't have evidence to suggest that regional ministers are involved.
Does he have evidence that journalists are involved?
Yes,
because of course, you a seasoned media practitioner.
Paul, please.
MCs are involved.
It is unacceptable for just true outside allegations.
How can you say that? How can you say that when some judge said that Akufo-Addo was involved, did he have evidence? How can you even say that? How can you ask me for evidence?
Away your many years
people have said president
was a journalist in this country on the web or allegations.
What is the allegation? What is the allegation?
Don't do this.
Young people have been in opposition and mentioned important government figures as being involved in Galamsey. The Ghanaian people followed you. The Ghanaian people.
What was your position?
The Ghanaian people's position is more important than mine. The Ghanaian people. No, the Ghanaian people agreed with you. Voted for you. You said you can do it in 1 week. President comes and says, God is giving us money. God is giving us money. God is giving us money.
I'll come to the two of you.
So if I go low,
no, Hamza, sorry.
Myself and you are senior. So if I go low, it's an invitation for you to go low.
It's okay. So you don't.
Absolutely
so
not.
Don't accept it.
I hold enormous respect for you.
Hamza, it's okay. I'll come back to you.
Commentary of this nature.
Hamza, I'll come back.
Some of us
Hamza, he's
to ask serious questions.
Paul is quiet. Please be quiet. No, come on, don't join. Don't join.
Why is it needless?
No, Hamza. No, come on. I don't want to.
He mentioned journalists. And I will defend journalists. Because I'm a senior, I will defend journalists at every instance. How can you tell me journalists are involved in Galamsey? Journalists. What power do journalists have? What power do journalists have?
Which citizens who are engaged in it, what power do they have?
Hamza,
please, let the citizens are empowered by politicians.
So journalists cannot be empowered.
So you should show us.
A journalist cannot be empowered.
No journalist by his training will do Galamsey. No journalist will do Galamsey. No journalist will do Galamsey. No journalist. Mention them. Mention them.
That you will not do it doesn't mean that other journalists will.
No journalist will do it.
Listen,
can we have
fun? Alleged to have been involved in Galamsey.
I don't want to take a break. I don't want to take a break.
Who is doing well in the
Hamza.
No journalists, name them.
Senior, you will know that.
Hamza, it's okay.
No journalists, name them. Paul, name them.
Paul, it's okay.
You have said journalists, name them.
Paul, I'll ask him to name them. You see, you mentioned imams, you mentioned pastors. Are there some that have been prosecuted? Can you mention specific instances?
So, back to the point I was making. I'm saying that
you're saying everybody's involved.
Please hold on. The complicity is effectively widespread because ordinarily, normally we've been saying the narrative, the rhetoric has been that it's the politicians who are enabling the illegal mining and all of that. But I'm saying that now, based on information, verifiable ones for that matter, when you go into the cracks of the issue, you realize that almost everybody is complicit. And when I mentioned journalists, Paul is obviously offended. But here is the point. Look,
can you mention one journalist that you found?
There are times where maybe in some communities, NIMOS goes on an operation. Excavators are seized. The people who sit and then write petition come to the NIMOS offices to come and ask for the excavators to be released and those who have been arrested to be spared and all of that. Sometimes I'm saying that there are bishops, there are imams, there are journalists. It's everybody. It's a national thing. So when I say journalists are involved, it is not to, as it were, maybe mischaracterize the journalism profession. I'm also a journalist, but I'm saying that everybody is.
On behalf of them means that they are also complicit.
No, but otherwise, why are you pleading on their behalf? If people have been arrested for doing wrong, why would you come in and then be making interventions?
So it's not as if journalists go and dig the pit, but you are saying there's complicity because either active or inactive.
Exactly, and even some of them actually. Of course, in some investigations, you realize
but you don't have names to mention, do you?
There are so many names to mention, but
can you mention
certainly not on this platform and not here.
Why not?
Because
are they not in prosecution?
No, for matters like this, you would want to investigate thoroughly. But the overarching point I'm making.
Did you find any ministers in all the complaints you've heard? Any minister, either regional or any cabinet minister involved in Galamsey?
Well, think about it this way. Everybody at all levels is involved in one way or the other.
So the president is involved.
So think of
So
Galamsey.
the president is involved?
No, think of Galamsey across.
Paa Kwesi Schandorf.
Think
he has said he will not mention. He has said he will not mention. No, he said.
I'm a journalist. I walk down the road here in Tesano. They see me. Hey, that's one of the journalists.
No.
Catch him. Galamsey. The journalist is called Kofi Bedu. They say, oh, this is Paul Adom-Otchere. It's not Kofi Bedu.
Paa Kwesi here is a journalist.
I'm a journalist too. So
yeah,
he has explained.
No, you can't say journalist, which refers to a definite group of people.
But he has explained. He said that when they arrest people, some of the people come begging for their release.
Civil society has been talking about name and shame for the last 5 years.
I've asked him,
as part of our anti-corruption drive.
He will not
name and shame. No, that is wrong. He should then withdraw the journalist. No, if he can't name, he should withdraw it.
No, I'm not going to.
The other day, Akufo-Addo was speaking to chiefs. The chiefs were in the room in 2017 in his big Galamsey Deba, where following from that, he actually banned it in 2017, banned it, and he came back in 2018. Akufo-Addo told them in the room that some of you are here. Some of you are, can I finish? Some of you are in Galamsey. He told them in the room. So you come to a platform like this and name identifiable groups, pastors, chiefs, journalists. Name one of them, you say, I can't name. That's really unfair. That's certainly unfair.
So Akufo-Addo mentioned the names of the chiefs in that.
That's a question to you. No, we need to know. You hold on, I'll ask him. So Paul, when the president mentioned this in the big room, as you said, did he mention any of the chiefs there?
He took an action. His point was that
he
all of you.
Wait, he mentioned.
He said all of you. He's the president, commander in chief, as they said. He said all of you, Nananom. I know some of you are involved.
He didn't mention.
It's still public. The record is still public. Then he said, as a result of that, I am going to ban it, and he did.
So he didn't mention.
He didn't mention. Okay, but these are chiefs. I was okay with him banning it, taking the presidential action to ban it. Paa Kwesi has information that is within his knowledge. He is not the president. He is not the commander in chief. He has information within his knowledge. He comes on to.
Response is very tangential.
Okay, so you are happy that journalists are named. Journalists are said to be doing Galamsey, but we won't name them. You are happy with it, and you believe it that journalists are involved. Do you believe it?
It's a possibility.
Paul and Hamza.
It is a possibility. It is a possibility.
Please proceed.
Umaru, I think we have veered off. The actual point I wanted to make, all right, or the real point I want to put across is that as of now, in our national life as a country, regarding the fight against illegal mining, the involvement is across all spheres. Everybody, I may want to put it that way, is involved. And let's not focus on specific individuals. People from the religious community, media, politicians across board. And so because we have gotten to, that level of...
It's always been like that. Before election 2024, it was like that. I'm sorry about that. But the thing is saying it's always been like that. Let's not be hoodwinked into thinking that something has changed. Galamsey has been across board, and they said it's Akufo-Addo's problem. It can be solved within 1 week. I'm sorry.
When I give you your time,
please, thank you very much.
Please,
we will solve it within 1 week. Politics.
Proceed.
Right. So I'm saying, due to the wide spread complicity, the interventions alone, as of now, are not enough. Look, if you were to, for example, NIMOS has started its nationwide deployments, permanent nationwide deployments to all the relevant flashpoints. But sometimes NIMOS goes on the fields, and you see that the locals themselves are not even interested in NIMOS coming to curb the menace. So the point we are making is that because of how it has become, we've gotten to a place where it should now be an issue of conscience. And I'm saying it very, very honestly. Even enforcement may not necessarily give us the kind of results that we are looking for.
So you want the fight to be a moral one now, not a legal one?
Yes, because
that will not succeed.
It's in the law. You see, there is emergency.
Akufo-Addo, you are being...
State of emergency, do it.
Akufo-Addo did not do state of emergency.
He banned Galamsey.
No,
but that's what he did. Oh, no, he banned it. Let me get it for you right now.
Everybody proceed.
If he didn't, he took an action.
It's the same as a state of emergency.
Yeah, but the action he took has not been taken. You have not reached that threshold. President Muhammad says God is giving us money.
Paa Kwesi, please proceed.
You right now.
Paa Kwesi, please proceed.
Proceed. Is here. There's AI.
Paa Kwesi, proceed.
Yes. So I'm saying basically that yes, there is enforcement, I mean, from NIMOS and, you know, the rest of the interventions that we are rolling out. But we need to come to a place where all of us would, as a people, you see the way when COVID came, you realize the national approach to COVID. I mean, all of us saw it as a threat, and then we all rallied, you know,
that's
collectively.
Not what happened.
We
put soldiers on the street to prevent people from going out.
But I'm saying that
we didn't. It wasn't the
but collectively, as a people, we saw COVID as a foreigner that was affecting us.
No, there were people who.
March 2017, Akufo-Addo placed a nationwide ban on small-scale mining in March 2017, later extended to halt Galamsey whilst reforms were rolled out.
But is that a state of emergency?
Ban.
Do we have that today? No, you said
yes. But we don't have a state of, but do we have that today? Yeah, I said state of emergency, but it is a ban.
No,
so it's a ban. Do we have a ban today?
But I will respond to it.
No, do we have a ban?
Okay, when I come back to you, Paa Kwesi, continue.
But if you say we don't have a ban,
no, don't be distracted. Don't be distracted.
I'm not distracted. I just want to make
you don't have a ban.
Hamza, you can. No, but don't present the ban as a certain magic wand that automatically is going to transform our fortunes. Because in any case, when the ban was placed, why did it transform our fortunes?
No, it didn't change anything.
It didn't.
It was lifted.
So don't present it as a certain magic wand.
Just for the record,
that automatically
the first media house, as I remember it, which started the fight against Galamsey, is CTFM, which I belong to. In 2017, we started the Stop Galamsey Now. 3 years on, our general manager Bernard Avle sat on radio and said the fight that was declared by the Akufo-Addo administration had been lost. So that was our position as a media house, that the Akufo-Addo administration, which joined the fight in 2017 when we launched, failed to fight Galamsey. That is the official position on our media house. Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just saying, in addition to the brute enforcement, we need to come to a place where, as a country, we all begin to reason out the issue from a place of conscience. Because yes, the interventions, you know, through NIMOS are ongoing. There's been reformation of the licensing.
You are sounding
regime.
Hopeless, and I'm worried.
No, I'm not sounding hopeless. No, I'm not sounding hopeless at all.
You are sounding as if now we should all come around and pray.
No, not come around and pray. But I'm saying that all of us should be able to integrate our energies together.
When did you know this?
When did I know this?
When did you know that it was a national problem that needed national support?
Amari, it has always been. It has always been a national problem.
You put it on Akufo-Addo's head as the president at the time. So why are we not putting it on John Mahama's head now?
How are we not putting it on John Mahama's head?
Why are you saying that everybody is involved, we should all go like COVID? We all agree that COVID is a dangerous monster, so we didn't fight COVID that way. We put soldiers on the ground and said, don't go out within that.
I've not said enforcement is a problem. No, I'm not saying.
Why are we not enforcing?
Are there not soldiers on there? Yes, the
why
are there not soldiers on the ground now?
I don't know.
They are. No, I mentioned
that.
Exactly. I'm saying that, look, if it comes to the enforcement, we are using NIMOS. There's currently the reformation of the licensing regime. Basically, we are overhauling all the regulations, you know, concerning mining. There's also the responsible cooperative mining and skills development program, because that is supposed to take care of those who still want to mine, however, who are supposed to be doing it responsibly, and a number of other interventions. But I'm saying if you put all of this together and there is no collective will from the people for Galamsey to become a thing of the past. Forget about the intelligence drafts of interventions. You may not be getting to where you desire to be. Asking for that to be done doesn't in any way mean that, okay, we are not, as it were, we are exempting those who have to crack the web, the president and all of that. I'm just saying that, look, all of the needful interventions to be done, but as a people too, and that is why we agree with the comment of the church. Okay, because we all know the church over
so we have failed. We agree that we have failed.
Why are you importing failure into my submission?
You said we agree with the church. The church man said we have failed.
He didn't. Why did he say
if we didn't fail, we wouldn't be doing baptism in plastic containers like he said. We should have been done it in rivers.
He didn't say failure. He didn't talk about failure.
How do you define failure?
No, but he didn't say failure. What he was saying is that because of the mass pollution, now immersion, baptism by immersion has become a challenge. That's not the same as failure.
And that's not failure.
No, but that's
what do you use to indicate? What are the key indicators for failure or success? We use the quality or the clarity in the water to say that In fact, there were some media houses, even us involved, we used to go and fetch a bottle of water every month from one of the rivers and come and put on it. In fact, I remember my brother who was then with GTV, Kafui, they would always do that and put it on. It looks like groundnut soup. We knew that the problem was bad. When you came to office, there were issues about the water now looking clearer. So if you're saying to me that a pastor cannot go and do baptism by immersion in a river body is not failure, I don't know what we can use to measure.
If that situation is what is manifest across all communities. But indeed, we agree it's a grave issue, but it is not what is everywhere. And so we cannot say that, yes, we have failed because really that's not the situation.
So would you put hand on heart and say that since this government came into office, you have done better than the previous administration has done in Galamsey?
Oh, but the facts bear us out. And I may want to serve you the facts.
What are the facts?
So, for example, do you know that from 2017 all the way to 2024, we had a total of 10,000 hectares of land that had been completely lost, totally decimated due to the menace of illegal mining. Indeed, that is the situation that we came to meet. 10,000 hectares of land. If you were to, get a graphical impression of that, you are looking at over 9,000 standard football pitches. So imagine Accra Sports Stadium, for example, or any standard football pitch for that matter. Over 9,500 of those lost to illegal mining. That's the situation we came to meet. Then again, we came to meet a dispensation where, for a long time, excavators that were being imported into the country were not monitored. Nobody was registering them whatsoever. And that is actually what, as it were, increased the illegal mining, because the excavator scheme, nobody was monitoring them. Okay. But as I speak to you, there's a system at the Minerals Commission that is geofencing and geo-tracking every excavator that is imported. So if you, Umar, for example, if you decided to import an excavator into the country, after the registration process, we would now fit a GPS tracker to the excavator, and that will help us know, first of all, where you have taken the excavator to and the purpose for which you have deployed it. If at any time we are able to determine through the monitoring that, look, you say, for example, you are taking it to Kumasi, now you've actually brought it to Accra, then it means that you have to come and answer. Okay. The excavator will be immobilized in that respect.
Paa Kwesi, I'll come back to you. I'm told that there's a feedback, so they'll get that fixed. Let me come to Paul. Paul, I want to hear you now. You were the one who was not happy with this administration's fight. And is it simply because they said Akufo-Addo did not do the fight properly? Is that, or you are saying that there's a better way they could do it, that they are not doing it?
Well, I have to apologize for interrupting his time. I apologize for that. I was just concerned that he was mentioning journalists, and it's always, I think that journalists are always punching bag in this country. Everything journalists. A journalist gets a government job, he can't do it. A lawyer gets a government job, he can't do it. The journalists are usually bastardized in Ghana, and I've taken it upon myself that we should scale above these things. So I apologize for that. You see, I am on the same page with Sam George. I agree with him. The Galamsey situation was moved from an anthropological, sociology problem to a political, legal problem. And truly, that is where the high hand of government can come in to stop it. Awula said something very important, that during the campaign, the NDC promised Ghanaians certain reliefs. One was, for instance, the removal of e-levy. Another was the removal of betting tax. She intimated that these things, whilst they were obnoxious, were not killing anybody. The wonder then is, what about the thing that is really killing people? How come that the government cannot use its authority, granted it by the powers and the laws of the land, including the national constitution, to resolve it? We are finding out that Akufo-Addo, when he came in 2017, so Galamsey was almost part of the 2016 campaign. MPP communicators will tell you that it was Akufo-Addo who indicated to the communicators that this is Galamsey, this is not part of the politics. We have to deal with it. So if you look at the MPP campaign of 2016, Galamsey didn't come up. John Mahama was president then. Galamsey was increasing. It could have been a campaign issue. It wasn't used. As soon as March 2017, 3 months into being sworn in, the president recognized that this was a problem. And then he held the meeting. And then he went on to ban small-scale mining and ban in red zones so that we can look at it, put it together and put the Frimpong Boateng together, and then the things that happened. Whilst the things that happened, and it was becoming obvious that this Galamsey problem was a far more complicated problem than we are looking at it as a president doing this and that. Akufo-Addo was told towards the 2020 election that this Galamsey thing, we can deal with it and mine responsibly. So open it up, because it is crippling business at the ground. People have stopped working, etc. So open it up. Government will have the necessary and the requisite skill or whatever to check it. So he opened it up, and then it was free for all. The campaign recognized that this is such a problem that government is the only one who can solve it. And so Akufo-Addo's conversation then that it's a national problem, let's the pastors let's all come together, it was poo-pooed and said that all of us should come together to do what? You are the commander-in-chief. You have been given the power. The people's mandate is with you. The constitution gives you power to stop this thing. Why should all of us come together? It's your problem. It's not all of us our problem. You are the leader. And they were correct then. They are correct today. When the NDC administration took over and the question was put, would you put a state of emergency on Galamsey, as was the prescription that you gave? We are a democratic country. We are very lucky for that. Because when you're a democratic country, we always have a government in power and you have an alternative government. That's what democracy means. So the alternative government is able to have access to the information that the government has access to. In fact, in this particular situation, the alternative government was a former government, so they were better placed. And they prescribed the solution to Galamsey. Some judge, and I agree with him, said within 1 week, if the president were to announce a state of emergency tonight, 7 o'clock in a broadcast, state of emergency on all Galamsey areas, by Monday you go there, people will be leaving. They will leave their champagne, they will leave everything, they will be leaving. The military helicopters that have been purchased will be patrolling. Everybody will go. By August, the water will return. Stakeholders meeting can go on. If this is not the solution, we cannot have any other solution. And this was the prescription of the opposition. They are in government today. When the president,
but it wasn't a formal decision of the opposition. I have spoken to the national chairman Johnson. I said,
yes, I heard you.
He said it was not a party position. It was individual's position. So you cannot use that and impose it on the government now.
But that individual position is turning out to be the real solution, and Ghanaians bought into that. You see, it's easy for politicians to run away and say this was not a policy decision, and that's how politicians get away with everything. Because when they say something, you can't hold them to it. They say something. Recently, somebody came out on social media that we must find a way in which when politicians say something, we have to be able to hold them to it. It even becomes laughter. We are joking with the death of people. Look at what Musa Dankwa is publishing today. Oh, I'm going to check Pentecost people, how they vote, whether they will vote for Pentecost, Asedun Ketia versus Baumia, Pentecost people. We are joking with people's lives. Look at the Pediatrician Society of Ghana.
How is he joking? He's doing his work.
Oh, but that's Galamsey is a life and death matter. Is that how we joke with it?
Polling is his business.
Yes, but you can't. Yeah, but you can't publish polling. It's almost being insensitive.
No, but
if your child has been punished for Galamsey with kidney disease, and you read something like
Musa Dankwa, you follow American politics.
Yes.
They do surveys on everything.
Oh, so America doesn't have things that are killing people.
No, they do polling on a number of things. They even do polling on.
Well, I think that is insensitive. If you think it's fine. I think it's very
sensitive. I'm just saying that I don't want it to be seen to be an attack on his work.
No, I'm not, but I'm thinking it's insensitive to come and pull how Galamsey is. I think it's insensitive.
That's fine.
We're at a very critical situation.
No problem.
It's not about politics. It's not about MPP and It's not a joke anymore. It is people's children are dying. Once the pediatrician people issue that statement, we all must sit up. And this is not the first time it's coming. In the heat of the 2024 elections, Professor Ramford Jampo, and I agreed with him, was rallying TUC that they should go on a strike because of Galamsey. And eventually TUC didn't go on a strike. They were asking, how does it affect us, blah, 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 etc. And people were attacking TUC that, how does it affect you? Saying,
organized labor.
Organized labor, yes. Water is getting, the turbidity of the water is getting bad. And you say that it doesn't affect you. And we agree with that position. We agree with it today. The problem has festered. You can't say it's NDC's fault. Nor can you say it's MPP's fault. If you are NDC, you can say it's NPP's fault and you have a justification. If you are MPP, you can say it's NDC's fault and you have a justification. Where we are today is not about fault pointing. It's about resolving the problem. And we know that it is only the president of Ghana who has the power to stop this once and for all. And he must do it. Okay. He has told us that he's not willing to do it because it brings us money. Galamsey brings us money.
When did he say that?
Oh, when he held I'm inferring. When he held the press conference, the first press conference. Yes, I'm inferring. Let me tell you what he said. You will infer the same. That's the only way you can infer. Okay. He says that whilst the people who are doing illegal mining are doing something illegal, at least the money comes to us because Gold Board has a situation where they can buy all the gold. That's what he said. Now, how do you infer this? The question he was answering was, would you put a state of emergency on Galamsey areas? This was his answer. What inference should I give? That is the inference that you have to give.
Okay.
So the president is unwilling
to bail the cat and then do the state of emergency because it may affect us economically. Now, should we be drinking bad water and some of us die and some of us become rich? Some die, some become rich, some die, some become rich. Is that the situation?
So president should take the bull by the horn.
The president should do the prescription, which is a state of emergency. He's able to do it. He has the power to. If he doesn't do it, we'll be having these conversations around these tables forever and ever. Because as he says, Galamsey today is money, and we're a poor country. We all need money. Soldiers need money. Policemen need money. NIMOS need money. Everybody needs money.
So the only way to end it is a state of emergency.
That's what Sam George said then. It is also true today. The only way to end it with the situation that we have is to declare a state of everybody clear out of the place. Let's come and have an assessment of what has happened. Then president can form a committee. He can let Hamza chair it because I see he's a good man. He's an honest man. He has a good heart. Hamza should chair it. Let's put together, you can even have a bipartisan committee, whatever. But at this stage, with what is happening, where MMDCs are being fingered by radio stations and they are still there, where they are charging for some fun and they are still there. It's been 2 months. They've not been removed. So the political will is not there. We have to force that political will and then we'll be fine.
Hamza, your party is in power. The political will is not there. That's what Adom-Otchere is saying.
Umaru, I think first of all, it is important for me to
You have 5 minutes, so I've timed you just so that you don't accuse me.
So you can more than 5 minutes.
No, I'm the one who is doing the timing. So you look at your phone.
Umaru, please, I beg you. The 5 minutes will be unfair. Please.
You haven't even started.
I know, but
you look at your time. You look at the time before you start, so that you don't say you don't. So that you don't.
Not if I do. Proceed. Senior spoke for more than 5 minutes. He spoke for more than 5 minutes. She spoke for more than 5 minutes. Yes, very sure.
Give me my important so it is a greater part.
Yes, of course, and they interjected.
What is your senior? Stop.
No seniority here. Sorry.
Umaru, I think first of all, it is important for me to commend the likes of Awula, our senior sister, who undoubtedly has shown some level of consistency as far as this fight is concerned.
Thank you.
And because clearly she is doing it because of the national interest. She is not wearing any partisan color. She is concerned about the environment and for the safety of many of us who go about our daily activities. And so that effort, I think that we must commend it. And many more of us must emulate that gesture. Same with the Pentecost Church of Ghana. I did not start following them today in terms of the Galamsey fight. Indeed, I remember somewhere 2022, they actually launched a campaign on social media, on their official page, where they were leading the discourse on issues of Galamsey.
Pentecost?
Yes. Yes. If you check, you see it. So I think just a minute. This is important.
Are you looking for the chairman's 2022 talk?
No. They are 2022 page. There's a social media.
There was
a video. And even it's really important. In 2022, it was not just about speaking about the effects of Galamsey. He was actually visiting Galamsey pits when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was president. With other clergymen. And so he's been fairly consistent, just like my big sister here, on the subject matter. And that is the reason why I was alarmed when I first heard the response of the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Free Zones Authority. A response that I thought that that did not reflect the composure of our president and of course the minister responsible for lands and natural resources when it comes to our holistic strategy in our bid to confront the Galamsey menace. And so many of us were worried and concerned because this clearly, or the response did not reflect the posture of this government. And I am glad that she came to apologize, especially even when the heat on social media was started by not just the NPP, but the NDC activists who thought that this was improper, this was unacceptable, and as far as our collective desire to defend or protect the environment of this country is concerned, we must go beyond branding people as politicians simply because they are raising their concerns. Now to the subject matter. As to whether or not this government has done well is not a decision to be reached by the government. And I know my brother agrees with me. This is because the best we can do is to fight it in a way we know better. And one of the ways of fighting Galamsey is making the process transparent And since the assumption of office by this president and that of the minister responsible for environment, lands, and natural resources, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, for that, or rather, I think that they have demonstrated that measure of transparency in terms of what they are doing in the sector, in terms of the interventions that government has rolled out, even the establishment of NIMOs, and how we all are mandated to police their activities. As if that was not enough, when concerns emerged that indeed we are not seeing what was going on, the president convened an engagement with all civil society organizations at the presidency. Something that was never done in the last 8 years of the last regime. We never experienced that. Where even amongst the civil society organizations, there were disagreements as to the posture or strategy government should adopt. I remember even the president of the Ghana Journalists Association got up and indicated that he could now make sense out of the reasons why government is quite adamant to declare a state of emergency. And so it even became a point of contention amongst the civil society organizations. Some were of the view that a state of emergency be declared, others were of the view that no, this is not the right time. So, but there was that appreciation in terms of government posture. It was at that fora that government got the water agencies to present a picture of the turbidity levels of our water bodies and also efforts at cleaning them. That level of transparency was never witnessed. And so we cannot simply gloss over that. Again, it is legitimate for people to still be concerned when they see water bodies of this nature. And for me, when I listened to Reverend Nyamiche, I found nothing wrong with the caution he threw. His references to extensive damage of our water bodies was not suggestive of the fact that the extensive damage happened now or is happening now. We've all known that the havoc of Galamsey is extensive in nature. We still see the effects. We live it on a daily basis. And so it was not done to portray the government as not being committed to the fight. It was a general statement that any of us...
So you think it was complimentary rather than attacking?
No, I'm not saying it was complimentary. If he said that it was extensive in nature, the damage was extensive. Legitimate. Because the extensive nature of the damage, he did not suggest that it happened under the term of this government. Absolutely not. Go and read the statement he issued. And on a lighter note, you see, in as much as I appreciate the pollution it is causing to water bodies and the impact on baptism and related activities as far as the religious fraternity is concerned, I think that in line with modernity, we must also begin to move away from such practices. With or without Galamsey, some of these water bodies has its own health implications because not all water bodies are treated. Even for the sake...
Even without Galamsey?
Yes, even without Galamsey. So even for the sake of the livelihoods of our own people and those who look up to us as pastors, I think that we must find ways of modernizing the way we baptize. And there's absolutely nothing wrong if you do so in synthetic taps, provided that it guarantees the health and safety of your congregants.
That's why I had mine, by the way.
So I think that we have to appreciate that. You see, but as for the concerns raised by my brother and my senior Paul, Umaru, legitimate. I disagree with those who say that we should take politics out of the discourse when it comes to illegal mining. We can't take it out. We can't, and we must not attempt to take it out. Because that is the only way we will ensure accountability. If the NDC said A, B, C, and D when we're in opposition, I have no problem with the civil society organizations, clergymen, and citizens of this country holding us strictly to the promises we made. The responsibility is on us to demonstrate how our commitment is different. And it is different. Look, in the past, we had appointees of government who, by their actions and public declarations, indicated that they were unwilling to cooperate with the executive arm's decision to even fight illegal mining. Amenfi East, a parliamentary candidate who was attached to the Chief of Staff's office, he was on record to have called on his people to even attack the military men who were there to ensure that illegal mining was halted under an MPP regime. This happened. The former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, in the heat of the elections, Deputy Minister in the Western region, also told the Galamseyers that they should go and do. and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was seated. Ashanti Regional Chairman, who is before our courts today, was indicted by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources to have engaged in illegal mining activities. It took President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, my senior, wants us to see as a champion in the fight against illegal mining, to clear him publicly against official correspondence from his own Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. So if you had this level of state complicity at the time, how did you expect to win any sincere fight against illegal mining? Okay. Is that the situation today? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
No appointee of President Mahama can attempt what we witnessed under NPP and go scot-free.
Thank you,
because
Hamza.
even the media is instrumental in this fight, and the president is not ready to jeopardize his last and enduring legacy that he's been given an opportunity to build simply because he wants to shield an operative or an appointee of the state. Absolutely not. So that distinction needs to be made.
Very well.
And lastly, on the issue of journalists being involved in the...
Your big brother is a journalist.
Yes, my big brother is one. And you see, that's why I asked Senior that, look, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo made allegations that some chiefs were involved. We did not demand for names of the chiefs that were involved.
Let's correct this. He did not say some journalists. He didn't use that. He just said journalists were involved.
It's the same thing. If you say if I say journalists engage in corruption, it just means some journalists. I don't think it means some journalists.
I'm resisting the temptation today.
No, conclude for me.
You see, we can pretend, and that kind of pretense is what is making the fight murkier. We all know that when we talk about journalists, it's not just about journalists in Accra. All the regions have journalists. And unless, of course, you are not familiar with the political economy and social setup in the Western region, there are actually journalists who host programs, who in the Western region and in the Eastern region, who themselves have mining pits.
You know some that you mentioned.
There are journalists. There are journalists in this country who have taken licenses to mine and end up mining in areas where they are not legally entrusted with their mining license to mine. They are engaged in Galamsey. And if we say that evidence suggests that there are some journalists who are engaged in Galamsey, it is not a negative brush for all journalists.
Absolutely not.
Just like the president alleged that there were some chiefs who were engaged. We can all sit around this table and pretend.
Okay.
You see, chiefs own land. Journalists won't own land.
You don't have to own land to mine, Senior.
Yes, but I'm saying that the one who owns the land is easier for you to allege that he is mining than the one who is a reporter. He came to buy the land, took the pick. But let's name them. Let's report to the GJ. I don't know members of the GJ.
When we mention Galamseyers in Western and Eastern region, they are not chiefs. The people who do Galamsey.
You don't seem to get my point about alleging that journalists are in Galamsey and alleging that chiefs are in Galamsey. It's easier to allege that chiefs are in Galamsey because the object of Galamsey is land. Chiefs own land by Ghanaian law. Chiefs own land.
I don't have to own land to do Galamsey.
You see, it's an analysis I'm doing. Yes, you don't have to own land. But if you are alleging that a group of people, all of whom own land, are part of land degradation, it's nearer the truth than a news reporter.
But what if you flip the coin and say the owners? What if you say that the owners rather protect their land and that the non-owners rather degrade the land?
If the non-owners degrade the land, the owner is there to stop them.
On a lighter note, to end on this note, I also disagree with you.
Okay, fair enough.
When you say that we have transitioned, the Galamsey problem is not a socio-economic problem, it has transitioned to a political-legal problem.
I'm not saying that. I said the solution is political-legal.
No.
The solution is also sociological.
It is still both.
Well, because it's attractive, it earns money. It will be difficult to resolve it sociologically.
So that is why we have
law can resolve it.
Empowerment program.
She agrees with me. I will agree with you. So you are in the minority. It's the law that can stop it.
I'm not saying that the law cannot stop it.
But if the law can stop it, but the sociology cannot stop it.
It is not the law alone that will stop it. I am telling you
the law is the strongest.
Exactly.
The law first.
No, but he made an allegation. He made an assertion.
No, Hamza, the law first.
A transition from socio-economic. The focus should move from socio-economic
to the solution.
And I am telling you that, please. Yes, even the solution. And I'm telling you that is not accurate. It is not for nothing. That even if you look at your UN resolutions, livelihood empowerment programs are embedded when it comes to ending illegal mining.
But the law first.
Social and economic.
The law first. The ban first.
Simply be seen
No, I think
The
we're
ban
pursuing
first. I
those
think
things.
the ban
So
first.
there's no transition. Indeed, they work together.
Thank you,
That's the
Hamza.
point I'm making.
Thank you, Hamza. Let me go
There's no
to.
transition. It has not
But the
moved.
law first, the government first.
I'll come to Kamal. But I want to
Government must
hear.
lead.
I want to hear from Dr. Osai.
So government first.
I agree.
Paul
President
Government
first.
leading also means
Paul
introducing
and
livelihood empowerment programs
Paul
as
and
an
Hamza.
alternative.
Hamza.
That is true.
Hamza
But
and
the
Paul.
law first to stop them
But the
from
two of
doing
you
them.
can-
Because
the two of
the
you-
government has inherited the problem. You see,
Paul.
the problem was there before the government came. The government has inherited. The government didn't create it.
Paul.
The government has inherited it, but the government can't solve it.
Very
And
well.
that's the promise made to the
The
Ghanaian people.
government
For
is
which
committed to
reason?
solving it, and this government
It doesn't
will solve
look
it.
like
Unlike
that.
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, where we saw what we
That's
call
why he was voted
open
out. That's why he was voted
publicity.
out. That's why he
And
was
that is
voted
what we are
out.
solving.
You are not.
We are.
She's shaking her head. She's shaking her head. As you talk, she's shaking her head. When you said you are solving, do you see how she shook her
No, we
head?
are solving. She may not be
Please, she's
excited.
shaking her head. But you are not solving.
No problem. No.
I don't even expect her to be
I agree that you have 4 years. I agree that you have 4 years
So
to solve
let us send
it.
it.
So let's see what happens.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
It's not
for
coming.
Thank you,
It's not
Hamza.
coming.
Thank you. Let me.
Commitment has been is there.
Hamza, thank you.
Yeah,
Let-
by middle this year, you have 1.5 years more
Paul,
to
thank
finish.
you. Let me
We
go
are
to
just about
Dr.
1 year, 4 months.
Oh no, I said by middle
Oh,
this
yes.
year. By middle
Let me
this
go
year.
to Dr. Osai Kwakwo.
No, by middle this year, you have 1.5
Hamza,
years.
Paulus.
Paul,
Paul,
that they will solve it. That's a good
Paul,
news.
I want you
He
to.
promises that they will solve it.
I want you
That's
to
good
invite
news.
me on Good Evening Ghana. I'm
Why
going to be
not? Why
this
not?
distracting.
Why not?
to
Oh, I'm
you.
sorry. I apologize.
So that
I
you see,
apologize.
as a defender of journalists,
Maybe he was feeling that
as
he's
a
a host.
defender
I
of
don't want to
journalists,
be
you are
the host.
suddenly making my job. You want me to lose
I'm
my.
really sorry about that.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Osai Kwakwo, have you acidity done any work on the Galamsey issue? And would you be interested in doing a comparative analysis of how this government versus the previous one is handling Galamsey for us?
Well, I mean, we've been one of the CSOs that, we've lent our voices to the issue of Galamsey. Some of the things that we've written, even in the lead up to 2024, and even the swearing in on the new government, when we wrote about the key issues to focus on to tackle, Galamsey was one of them. We've had, either whether it's our fellows, those who are employed there on a full-time basis, have regularly, chimed in, proposed different ideas and called on government to really address this challenge. But for me personally, from where I sit, I keep asking myself, at what point does the conversation move away from rehashing that which we already know, the contributing factors, the consequences for the environment, the health consequences, and all of that, to really trying to say that the different sides of the political aisle, if you look at the 2024 manifestos of our two parties, they both had quite a number of proposals that they believed, if implemented, would help address this. So it just seems like it's this, unending cycle of what should we do, what can we do, what should we try and do. But I'm starting to also realize that, as Paul said, there's a legal component to it. But for me, there's also how you reconcile the politics and the economics of Galamsey. And what I mean by, the politics is that it just feels to me sometimes that in opposition, there is a stronger boldness in asserting that this thing can be done, versus whilst in power, there seemed to be some sensitivity to the political consequences of going hard on this issue because of, quote unquote, this idea of the potential loss of votes. Okay. And then on the side of the economics, those who are engaged in it, in as illegal as it is, are also driven by economic incentives. I once talked about the MPP's alternative livelihood program and the lessons we can learn from that. But the pushback I got on that was the money you would get from an alternative livelihood program would never compare to the money that you can get from Galamsey. But I still think that it's a program worth looking at, in addition to all of the other things that we are trying, the use of the security forces, the water guards, and all of that. But at some point, you would have to make sure that you can change the economic incentives for those who want to engage in it, and then the political incentives for those who have the power to really do something about it without being overly sensitive to what are the consequences for my political fortunes if I go too hard on this or if I ignore it.
Thank you so much, Doc. Let me come back in studio. Kamaldeen, are you people not the ones who have actually led us to this place, and so you should even not be speaking because you had 8 years to fight this thing. The president put his presidency on the line. You could have dealt with this matter if it is dealable.
Since when have you ceased to be citizens of this country?
Oh no, maybe December 7, 2024.
No. So we ceased to be citizens of this country?
Don't mind me, proceed.
That's good. You see, this issue of Galamsey, and I can agree with Hamza when he says that, look, we shouldn't take politics of it. I agree with him completely. We'll continue to do politics with it because leadership matter in this. Just in March, last March, the President of the Republic of Ghana, GM, is on record to have said that his own people are involved in Galamsey. When he met the the organized labor group.
Which is what Paa Kwesi said, that everybody is inside.
I'm saying that the President admitted that his own people, with all respect, his own people are involved in Galamsey. And the question that comes to mind is simple. Who have you arrested to deter people? To prove a point that when you were in opposition, you said this was a menace you need to fight. It was a canker. It was an issue that was killing us. Based on that,
his party's national organizer and vice chairman are being investigated upon a directive from the Attorney General.
I'll come to that.
No, you asked who has been arrested, so I'm just offering you answers.
I've been investigated, and since when? When the AG indicated that those two people were going to be investigated, Yamin and Abanga were mentioned. When Yamin and Abanga were mentioned to be investigated, up to date, what have we heard? Nothing. Zero. It took Mustafa Gbande to come out and even deny on behalf of Yamin. That ends it. So is it a case that when it is about your people, you are quiet?
Maybe you don't have no evidence.
More telling is when the president himself admits, and he has more information than I have, certainly here, because national security reports to him. When they come to tell him X, Y, Z is happening, this is our fight against Galamsey, and this is where we have gotten to, but we have a difficulty. Our own people are doing it. Who are these people? Hamza is easily pontificating. People in the last government did X, Y, Z. Today, the president admits who have you arrested.
But when he said, he mentioned specific people. You too, you know what's happening there. How can you mention who?
For me, it is the president. See, if the Attorney General came to say that Yami was actually embarking on Galamsey or doing Galamsey, Abanga, who is the vice chairperson of NDC, was doing Galamsey.
But the thing is that it's actually the government that said this. So I'm saying that Hamza said when you were in power, he mentioned DC for here, this person, that they were doing it. He mentioned minister and all of that. So now in this, I'm helping you. I'm helping you. No, it's my duty. It's my duty to help you.
Let me flow.
Help here means guide, not to assist.
With a great respect, if you have a question to ask me, ask. But allow me
who in this current. So I have a question.
I
have a question. In this government, who have you seen being fingered as engaging in Galamsey who is not being prosecuted or investigated?
I have mentioned Yamin. I have mentioned Abanga.
But they have been investigated.
Wait a minute. Yakub Abanga. But they have been investigated. I'm saying. How long does it take? How long does it take?
Attorney General announced to the whole world, please, that he, the government lawyer, is investigating a guy.
Okay, you let's come
4 months down the line, we are still waiting. We should wait.
Again, it took the CJ, Bafuboni, to tell us that Galamsey has actually become worse under this regime. Bafuboni. He said that. When he said it, you were not following. It took the CJ to say that Galamsey has become worse. After he made that comment, the government spokesperson, Felix, came out to say he should show evidence. That's the response. That brings me to where Nyamiche made his comment. When he says, look, this is a complex matter which needs complex approach to solve. And that human beings who are supposed to be involved might be caused, and that was the word he used, to actually act against this particular menace. only for him to be whipped with insults, with threats, as a clergy. Hamza has done the needful by coming to maybe try to apologize on behalf of the lady.
She apologized herself.
Well, her apology.
No. I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
If you want us to content analyze our apology, we can, but we don't want to do that. So don't repeat.
I've not invited you. No, I have not invited you. No, I'm not inviting you. Respectfully. Come on, people.
I'm saying that Hamza has at least done the needful by coming to apologize to Ghanaians and telling Ghanaians.
Shando first came out also yesterday and said something. Yeah. But the woman hasn't apologized. Apology there.
Her apology is not.
From Monday to be back on the news is very bad.
Before even Yamiche spoke, if you remember Stephen Adom-Otchere, Stephen Adom-Otchere, Prof. Adom-Otchere said something. He said, look, the passing of the Gold Board Act, to a large extent, paves way or is going to pave way for illegal mining to strive.
So Parliament has legalized criminality?
Not Parliament per se, but he was saying that if the government now in power were in opposition and thought that illegal mining was actually a disincentive to us and that we will fight it with the promise that when we come, we're going to fight it head on, only to come and pass laws that to a large extent may even allow people who are operating within that sector, strive. That to him was not a fight against Galamsey. And when he said that again, he was also whipped. He was lashed at with insults. I'm saying that, look, today, the commitment that we're all looking for to fight this corruption, you see, will be needless if we don't see the institution of emergency, state of emergency in this game.
Why didn't we do it in 24?
Paul gave you an example. In 2017, in fact, it took us 9 months span. When the president of the Republic of Ghana saw that this was a problem, he quickly issued a moratorium on small-scale mining. Please, with all respect. It was a ban.
If we do that today, if we do that today, we'll get there.
A moratorium. I'm not saying it was a state of emergency.
In any case, the ban, yes, fair enough. Akufo-Addo did ban. John Mahama has not reached that threshold of a ban.
Paul, you've exhausted your time. I'm yet to come to you.
I'm saying that you may not call it state of emergency, but of course, that was a very strong decision taken. And when he took that decision, 9 months down the line, we saw changes.
And then things went bad again.
We saw changes. And things went bad again because we got to open it up.
Then he was invited to...
If you tell us that within a week you can solve that Galamsey menace, then we now repose our trust in you, vote for you. You come, use it as a political tool, win power. You now come in and what Shadrach tells us here now is a marathon. And even tells us again, that enforcement is difficult because locals on the ground are not even allowing members of NIMOs to act. He said that here. That's why I said when he said enforcement was a problem. He himself sat here.
Yes.
You understand? So if that is where we are, it means that we all have to throw our hands in despair because we cannot fight this matter.
It's hopeless.
We are becoming hopeless.
Not for government.
Why? Your minister sat on live TV and was crying. And said it was difficult to fight.
But it's not
your minister.
No. I'll come to you. I'll give you time to respond. Take notes. Take notes. I'll come to you.
Your minister sat on live TV and was crying.
It's normal for people to be emotional. It's very normal.
Take notes. I'll come to you. Come on, you have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to end.
You shouldn't use that as an additional feel.
I'll come to you. Paa Kwesi, I'll come to you. I'll give you time.
Passionate and shed
tears. Yes. I remember Sheikh.
Your minister sat on live TV and wailed. And when he was asked why, he said, look, the people involved in Galamsey, it's not easy to fight it.
That was his reason. Look, now you are putting words.
That was his reason.
No.
But see,
don't distract him, please.
That notwithstanding. How did my brother...
When I come to you...
How did Hamza end? Hamza ended by pointing accusing fingers. I have origin. What happened? The MP who mentioned my brother Collins Dauda, the issue that happened or what happened surrounded or was around Galamsey.
Police arrested him.
Very well. Police, and to what end? Where are we today on that matter?
He was actually been taken to
where are we today?
And he's still before the law court.
Amenfi West, the member of parliament for Amenfi West today,
he's still before
is on record to have been named as one of the kingpins of Galamsey in Amenfi West. What has happened to him?
By who?
It's in the public domain. These are things we know. So when you sit here and you want us to say that, look, let MPP look bad, you equally look bad in it. But of course, MPP is even better than you because they even initiated the fight, called for it, if they have not even succeeded. But what have you done when you hinge on that and campaigned against people and told people you could do this, only to come and do nothing? But I think that, look, like Awula said, if we do not all come up together, what is happening in Chebi now? I'm told since last September they don't even have water to drink. It's only Chebi she knows. Maybe other areas is worse. This is a threat that we all need to fight on or fight against. Now, if we want to sit down and say that, look, let us blame each other. The president put it in his own words when he said his own people were doing it. He said, look, they have now adopted a strategy. If this government comes in, they go for the colors of the T-shirt of that party and then put it on and continue with their act. The next government comes in, they go for the colors of that political party, put it on and then continue to fight it. Therefore, it is difficult to fight. That was the word. Those were the words of the president. So for me, on Galamsey, look, nobody can claim credit today. But what we can do is to go the way
state of emergency,
absolutely,
which you were not able to do. They should do it for you.
If we were able to, that's why we.
And that's why you voted out. So okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
Simple.
Let me come to so Paa Kwesi, I want to hear from you. I'm giving you 3 minutes. I'll let her wrap up for me. I want to hear from you in 3 minutes, and you can look at your time on your phone before you start. 3 minutes. You can respond to everything that has been said, and then we'll conclude.
Well, so I just want to. You know, Kamal kept on making the case that yes, they initiated the fights, they were more robust and all of that.
Of course, yes.
I think
your
scorecard is what would validate the strength of that fight or not. So I'm giving you a scorecard. Now, between 2017, and I mentioned earlier, to 2024, on record, and you can verify that from the Forestry Commission, the total number of forest reserves or lands that had been decimated due to illegal mining, it's currently 10,000 hectares of land. So you who initiated the fight, and you say that you have to be applauded for that fight and all of that, by the time you were leaving office, including your ban and all the other interventions, you have 10,000 hectares of land that had been destroyed. And government is actually committed to, you know, reclaiming them, except that if you want to reclaim a single hectare, you're looking at something between 40 to 45,000 US dollars. So if we have 10,000 hectares to, you know, reclaim, you can imagine the financial implication. But that said, and not to apportion blames, government has, I mean, the current administration has, you know, embraced the bad legacy that it inherited, and there is the commitment to deal with the issue. But I'm going back to I'm going back to the earlier point that I made, that for me, I'm also the spokesperson of NIMOS anyway. I get to sit in the meetings. I hear the issues. I'm familiar with the facts and all of that. If I were to say or offer any recommendation, I mean, moving forward in dealing with illegal mining, I'll go back to what I said earlier, that we need to, I would disagree with Hamza on this. He says that we cannot take out the politics, but I think we have gotten to a place where we should just de-escalate the politics, because if you don't, you know what we're going to have? We're going to have a situation where this person comes and says that I did X, Y, Z, then we start a comparative analysis and all of that. So it becomes a tussle. No, I was just giving you
So I asked him to tell me what they have done differently, and that's why he went on that tangent.
Exactly.
So maybe after today we will not do that again.
Exactly. So what we deceiving? All we are just saying is that at this point, Umaru, let's just maybe stop the politics. Let's treat it
we will not and we cannot.
Well, that's fine, but let's treat it as Awula put it, an existential threat, something that affects all of us. Because if we are going to go on the, you know, and you know, the effects do not even discriminate. Look, if a water body is polluted and anybody goes to fetch it, I mean, you the drinker, I mean, it is irrelevant whether you are NDC or you are NPP.
There's an impression that has been created around this table that the Gold Board was set up to take proceeds of illegal mining. You are the man whose duty it is to protect our natural resources. Is that what's happening?
Absolutely not. And I don't think we should even go into this particular conversation again, because I mean we've had it too many times and the response has been the same. If it is indeed the objective of the Gold Board to advance or promote illegal mining, why then is the same Gold Board developing a system for, you know, traceability and all of that? It logically does not make sense. You can't add the two. But in conclusion, I'm saying that
in conclusion, I want to talk about the Blue Water Guards. How are they doing?
So if you want to rate or assess the efforts of the Blue Water Guards, you need to look at the output of 9 months. I keep saying it this way because more often than not, the public ridicule is that the Blue Water Guards are not doing anything, they are not armed, and we are not seeing their efforts. But they were not created to enforce laws or be combative. Actually, it's just an intelligence outfit that is supposed to complement the efforts of 9 months. So anywhere you see that 9 months has gone on a raid and come out with, any meaningful
it's because of Blue Water Guard
because of the intelligence, from the Blue Water Guard. Okay. So basically, they are complementary.
Well.
The final batch that would be outdoored, I think that will be done somewhere next week or next 2 weeks, and then we'll continue in that respect. But in conclusion, Umaru, I'm being very honest. I think that we have gotten to a point where we need to take away the politics. Let's treat it like the way we treat malaria. I mean, we don't politicize malaria. We don't politicize HIV and AIDS and so many other things. Let's look at it as a national canker, because there is the commitment from the President of the Republic and the Sector Minister, Honorable Amakofi-Boa, to deal with it. But if we take out the politics, I believe we'll make more progress.
Well, I want to hear from you in concluding, and also I'm giving just 3 minutes. Do we look like we have a good heading in dealing with Galamsey?
First of all, let me say something very quickly. Yeah. The traceability isn't a magic wand. If, for example, I get gold from an illegal miner, and then I sell it to gold board, you would not know that I got it from the proceeds of illegal mining. So the magic wand is not traceability, although it has its role. But let me say very quickly, in 2017, after the ban on small-scale mining, there was an improvement. The question is, why did we open it up? But I want to be very clear and say that we face an existential threat. We're being killed. So this is not the time for politics. This person did it, this person didn't do it. This is the time to put out the fire. When your house is burning, this is not the time to find out how the house started to burn. You put out the fire. After putting out the fire, you put systems in place to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And let me be very, very clear. We face an existential threat. We are being killed. Atiwa Forest, which was declared a forest reserve almost 100 years ago, in fact, 100 years ago in 1926, is being decimated. We need to declare it a national park. And then our forest reserves, we need to have rapid response teams close by. So it's not a question of we go there, remove illegal miners, the next day they go back. They can be permanently there, and then we deal with them. Then we ask ourselves, the IGP's team, I think, was doing a good job. They have police posts everywhere. NAMOS is doing its best, but it's not being well resourced. At the dialogue with the president, that question was asked. We're told that money was going to be released by the Ministry of Finance. If you set up NAMOS and you want it to work, you have to properly resource it. Forestry Commission, they don't even have bulletproof vests. And yet we expect them to put their lives on the line. 2 guards have been shot. One is dead, the other one is in hospital. The one who is dead was shot by a poacher. But the fact still remains that they need bulletproof vests. So I just want to say here before I end that the Joy expose, for me, is very, very disappointing that the DCEs are still at post. It gives the impression that we're not very serious, because any DCE who doesn't know that taking tax from a Chanfan owner is not the way to go, he shouldn't be there at all. Okay. And then I have to say that the longer we take to drop the charge against the Atronso activists, the more it discourages communities from trying to stop illegal mining, and the more it gives the impression that we're not particularly serious. Drop the charges straight away. And straight away. And then, because it's costing them a lot of money, and it's also costing a lot of stress, it's discouraging communities. And lastly, before I go, it's very important that we publish the results of the water. Because you see, we keep on thinking that once it's clear, it's safe. It does not mean it's safe.
So we should do that.
This sky water, for all you don't know what it contains. So we need to keep on testing, because the fact that water is clear does not mean it's free from toxins.
I have a question for you. Should we impose state of emergency as we understand it to be now, or we should not?
Well, in the run-up to the elections, TSOs asked for a state of emergency. In the run-up to the elections, we asked for it. I'm not quite sure what has changed. We did ask for a state of emergency. We also asked for a ban.
So it's relevant today as it was then?
Well, the emergency is still there. Look at what is happening. Our scientists are telling us that our water is being poisoned, our food is being poisoned.
So if the president were watching you, you would tell him to impose a state of emergency?
Well, personally, I would think that whatever needs to be done should be done. And my understanding is that a state of emergency will help. But I also want to end by saying that, you see, small-scale mining, we had community mining. We found the flaws in it, and now we've changed the name to cooperative mining. For me, whether you call it small scale, whether you call it community mining, cooperative mining, the crux of the matter is that you need to monitor.
Very well.
I have a driving license. Does that mean because I have a license, I can drive whilst intoxicated? I can drive on the so the license is not the issue.
Okay.
The issue is, am I mining where I should be mining?
Well.
Am I mining water bodies, buffer zones, communities? There are laws.
Very
So
well.
just issuing the licenses like confetti does not help.
Thank you so much. This is the big issue on 97.3 City FM and on ChannelOne television. We return with more. Please stay with us. Yeah, welcome back. This is the big issue on 97.3 City FM and on ChannelOne television. We've had two conversations. Let's conclude now. And we're going to talk about the Office of Special Prosecutor. Following what the High Court decision was, a lot of things happened last week where operatives of the OSP went to court and the High Court sort of had its hand cuffed and could not proceed on a number of issues. Then there's even an aspect where a court or some persons in the court were questioning the Economic and Organized Crimes Office officers to produce authorization from the Attorney General to prosecute. Is the OSP dying? Is the OSP going to, be dead? And is it the OSP that people are fighting or the SP that people are fighting? That's the conversation we had last week. We want to take it a notch higher this morning. Let me start with Kamaldeen. Come on, watching.
So we don't get to respond to the baseless allegations they made against His Excellency President Mahama.
Which baseless allegation?
And I think they alleged that His Excellency had indicated that because we are getting money from illegal mining.
Are we not finished with that one?
No, we are not.
Right of rejoinder. No. If you want to, if there's something that was said I want to respond to, you can. 1 minute.
Yes. Because you see, Umaru, that was clearly inaccurate and intended to achieve a certain political mischief.
Who said it? Paul?
Paul indicated that, His Excellency President Mahama has said A, B, and C. I think that the press engagement was contextual. And when he was asked about the possible influence Goldboard could have on the Galamsey fight, he indicated that if for nothing at all, we should not just be focusing on what we think to be the influencing factors of Galamsey with the establishment of the board, but rather focus on the good side of that intervention. And he indicated that, look, we are fighting Galamsey. We are not yet done with the fight against Galamsey. It is a process. Yet still, the only advantage we should not forget, as far as the old system was concerned, is the fact that today, even the gold that is coming from illegal mining is not being lost to the state, especially when we have to bear the health implications of that. It is not being lost into the state. In the past, it was lost to the state. Now, Gold Board has also announced that this year they will start their traceability to know which one is coming from illegal sources and those that are not coming from illegal sources. But by current law, they are not even buying from illegal miners. And that point needs to be made. And that context is critical. It was not as if to say that, Gold Board is buying gold from illegal miners. And so because we are buying it from illegal miners, they should be allowed to go ahead with it. Absolutely
Thank you. So we have 5 minutes each in studios. We are going to discuss the Office of Special Prosecutor, and I'm starting with you, Kamaldeen. Yes. Unless you have something to a rejoinder you want to make. Okay.
Nothing to say. He just repeated what we said anyway.
Don't paraphrase what he said. You proceed with it. You have 5 minutes.
You see, on some other platforms, I made this point. I'm yet to see a political party in this country that has not featured in their manifesto prior to election the fight against corruption or the commitment to fight against corruption. I'm yet to see that. Since the inception of the Fourth Republican Constitution, parties upon parties have always said that, look, our commitment is to fight corruption. Some suggesting institutions to be set up, some suggesting laws to be promulgated or to be enacted, and other things. President Kufuor, in his wisdom and his team, came out with what we call the procurement law because we thought that we needed to sanitize that system or that area, which people were actually using as a conduit for corruption. Now, based on that, we got the procurement authority, as it were. I believe it was a notch higher in terms of our fight against corruption. We had the Whistleblowers Act coming, We had also the strengthening of the IOCO laws, Okay? And then we also had Nana Addo Akufo-Addo promising that, look, I am going to set up also a special prosecutor's office. The NDC also in their manifesto have series of what, if you like, promises. So it appears that all of us, okay, have a single commonality, which is to fight corruption. Now today, fast forward to where we are. If we have OSP set up, a bill was drafted by the AG, sent to Parliament as a government bill. Parliament looked at it, scrutinized it, passed it, okay, and said or indicated that, look, Article 88 was actually very, if you like, telling when it comes to the prosecutorial powers of the OSP, to the extent that they needed to find a way to couch it, which has to do with Section 4 of the Act, okay, Section 4.2, saying that, look, you needed some, if you like, blessings of the AG to prosecute issues. That is where we are today. I am saying that if all of us agree to this today, why are we now then seeking to scrap the entire office with the talk that constitutionally it was flawed? So the fight against corruption, that's why I'm not surprised that the COSOs have come to say, look, let us all try to protect this office. It's not about the individual. He may have his flaws. He may have his problems. Okay? However, the institution called Special OSP, what can we do, or Special Prosecutor Office, what can we do to ensure that that institution is indeed serving the purpose, okay, for which we set it up? It's just the reason some of us think that all those things that we're seeing today is inimical to the fight against corruption. You see, we sat in this country, and whether you like it or not, you may have your argument. The removal of the CJ was a negative to us as a country in terms of strengthening institutions that will help us fight corruption.
Was it not neutralized by the retaining of the Electoral Commission chair and the SP?
How could that be neutralized? The very reason why you removed the CJ was the very reason why you were citing to not neutralize, to keep the EC in place. Okay, the prima facie, in one breath, we had prima facie, if you like, established. The same reasons came up. The CJ, who is now the CJ, says that, look, based on this reason, we cannot establish a prima facie. You see, that's what I'm saying. It was a negative to us, as it were. It was a drawback. But nonetheless,
even though the Constitution was followed to the letter and no one has found any constitutional breach in the removal of the CJ.
Even on the OSP matter today, we have legal luminaries who have different views. This one says no, this one says no. And I've been following, I'm not a lawyer, of course, I'm a lay person, but I've been following their contributions, I've been following their write-ups. But I'm saying that let us not create an indication out there that we as a country, having promised and said so much about fighting corruption, we are coming to fight institutions that we have set up. How did it start? It took the majority leader in Parliament, which is Whip, the Fiamapo, to say that they were initiating a private member bill to scrap the entire office.
The president intervened and
the president intervened very well. And the OSP then says that he's actually surviving as a result of the goodness of the president. Okay? That didn't stop. Having said he's surviving as a result of the goodness of the president, then he went further to say that but the fight to scrap that office is not actually dead. Then the next moment, the court judgment came.
Which is not government.
It's not government. I agree perfectly, but we're doing politics here. And we all understand how it works sometimes, it operates. I'm not actually saying that somebody sent someone to court or force someone to go to court, but we are doing politics. That's why I'm just trying to let us understand that, look, a lot goes into politics. That is why for me, where I sit today, I think that the president comments and that we should not do X, Y, Z and whatever, okay, is so much demanded now. If indeed the Attorney General who sits in cabinet or sits as cabinet with you, okay, is mindful of the fact that the president is interested in fighting corruption. Simplicity, I would have expected that, look, Section 4 says that you should issue a fiat. I would have expected the Attorney General going to cabinet, seeking the leave of the president, coming to issue that executive instrument for the OSP to continue with his work. Simple. But where are we today?
Or keep quiet and watch what the Supreme Court, which is an independent,
we rather have a deputy attorney general who comes to tell you that, look, we are going by the judgment of the High Court, and for that matter, all the cases that are with the OSP, we shall. How do you take them? How do you take a case that was void? How do you take a case that is void? A case that's non-existent. I was surprised when I listened to them side.
Maybe you think, but that's what the judge said. It's not.
The judge said the cases were void.
Yeah, but the same judge said.
If they're void, how do you go to take something that's empty?
So that's a judge.
I was surprised the side was going on that tangent anyway. The point we in the minority we have made is that let us not go after the particular institution. You may have problems with the individual, maybe the way he goes. I personally have a problem with the way Skisi does his work. I have a problem with the series of press conferences that's come. Sometimes they are needless for me. But I do not have a problem with the setting up of the institution. The institution must actually be allowed to work and work for us as a country to fight corruption.
Thank you. Hamza, the attempt to remove the Office of Special Prosecutor started from Parliament. It was withdrawn and now it's happening at the judiciary. Government can be fingered. That's what he says. It's politics, you can finger government.
Yes. Government is fingered.
That is clearly not accurate. And I know
it cannot be accurate. What is not accurate? You know it.
You see, we have discussed the issue of the legal tussle that the OSP is embroiled in, I think a week or two ago on this very platform. And we all agreed that in principle, the Office of the Special Prosecutors Act clearly does not depart from Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, specifically Clause 4 and 3 of Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. But Umaru, the fundamental question that we should be asking is the politics that birthed, the relevance of the politics that birthed that particular office, and how it sits well as far as these legal questions that people are beginning to raise are concerned. And why do I say so? An impression was given to us that the New Patriotic Party and the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo were going to establish an office of independent special prosecutor, independent of the office of the Attorney General. And so many were looking up to that particular office. Clearly, they gave us an office, in the words of their speaker who presided over the passage of the bill into an act.
Professor Kwe.
Yes, they gave us an office that was clearly and truly not independent of the office of the Attorney General. One of the respected legal luminaries in this country and a former Attorney General, Ayikwe Otu, also added his voice to the raging debate where he questioned the so-called independence of the OSP in relation to Article 88 of the Constitution. These are not NDC functionaries talking. These are leading members of the New Patriotic Party, a party that my brother is Deputy Director of Communications. So to conveniently put these legitimate legal questions that people are beginning to raise on the doorstep of only the National Democratic Congress is to lose sight of the fundamental questions that people are asking and to dabble in your usual politics.
But the Attorney General is a nominal defender in lots of cases against the state.
Yes.
If the OSP is a state institution, the Attorney General should be seen to be defending the OSP's existence
when we say a nominal defender.
In fact, in this case, it doesn't have to be nominal. He has to be a proper defendant. In this case, defending the existence of the OSP.
But it does not mean that because you are a nominal defendant, even if you do not agree, remember the responsibility of the OSP is not just to institutions of state. It is also to individuals of the Republic of Ghana. So even if I appear in court against the state, it should be the desire of the Attorney General not just to represent the entity or institution that I have taken to court, but also to be mindful of my own rights in relation to the Constitution. So they have a dual responsibility. And so if the Attorney General is of the view that my position is sound in law, the Constitution still enjoins him to canvass arguments in support of my Constitution, my position against that state institution. And that is what the Attorney General is doing. So what he's doing
is not to defend a state institution at all costs.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because he knows the importance of individual rights, especially when it comes to our constitutional provisions and how to enforce these constitutions. And that is what is happening. Again, this Attorney General is on record when they were proposing to pass the bill into an act to have raised the issue of authority, and that there was a need for us to look at the issues of authority. So how do you, in all conscience, fairness, expect that same Attorney General who raised these issues, and remember he's also an academic, to suddenly abandon it because he's in government, even if he does not agree with it, when he's supposed to be the special advisor to the government?
Can you not rather refine the office if you think that there's a problem, fix that part, but to collapse the whole entity?
No. The
that looks like
Attorney
the whole
General
government
is
has ganged
not
up.
in office, is not in before any law court, arguing for the collapse of the OSP's office. Show me examples of any legal document that suggests that the Attorney General is calling for a nullification of that particular office. The Attorney General is raising issues of legality and authority.
The Attorney General, through his deputy, Dr. Sremsai, in the suit currently before the Supreme Court, in this case before the Supreme Court, where the legality of the office is being questioned, the Deputy AG's statement said that the prosecutorial power as given to them under Article 88 was being taken or hived off by the OSP, and they have a difficulty with that.
So that has to do with the prosecutorial power. It has nothing to do with the establishment of the office.
But if you don't give, if it's called Office of Special Prosecution, if they are not prosecution, it's useless.
No, it's not true. The fact that it is called Office of Special, he's not saying that they won't prosecute or they will not be allowed to prosecute. He's saying that in line with the Constitution, the Attorney General needs to give them the authority to prosecute. And that is not the same thing as saying that the office is irrelevant and should be scrapped.
Very well.
Or the office in its stature conflicts with the 1992 Constitution. The issue has to do with prosecutorial power.
Was calling for
and you see,
thank you, Hamza.
now I'll get there and let me land.
You have just a minute from
yes.
so that I
So,
hear from Paul.
Umaru, these are the fundamental issues we are raising. We promise a reset as a party that is in government today. What that means is that if we found issues that we considered problematic with the establishment of the office, it is our responsibility to ensure that we give it the legal impetus for it to work. Mind you, what we witnessed today, in the future, somebody could have actually gone to court to question the warrant of authority of Office of the Special Prosecutor and make nonsense all other prosecutions that office handled in relation to Article 88 of our Constitution. So it is better in the interest of the Republic for us to at least nip this, nip in the bud these loopholes.
Okay.
So that we don't give a lacuna
Very well.
for people to take advantage of that lacuna to make nonsense our effort. But as for the calls, there are many who are of the view that it is irrelevant for us to have the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Do you know this judgment has also given?
Oh, are you going to do that?
No.
So can you allow me to land?
Are you landed?
Hamza, you should actually have landed.
Yeah, no, I've not landed. But he is interjecting.
No, you are finished.
No, you gave me 1 minute. The 1 minute is not.
It's finished. I'm coming to Paul, actually. I'm coming to Paul. I just have 4 minutes for Paul to...
Give him 30 minutes, he will not be okay.
Paul, conclude for me.
I'm not sure why.
You have been to the OSP before,
yes,
both as a reporter and as a suspect.
I've been as a suspect, not as a reporter.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure when you were there, you also took notice of things that you report on.
Okay, I'm not sure why Hamza did not look at the legal processes, and I was hoping that we'll be able to do that and ventilate those issues. But there's a clear legal process that is being undertaken, and there's an obvious problem that lawyers are finding with the Attorney General's approach. So the OSP's office was created as a result of an anti-corruption sort of thing. This anti-corruption matter had been with our politics since maybe after Rawlings, since the 2000. The first conversation was that we should decouple the Attorney General's office from the Minister of Justice to create a situation like that. We were unable to do it because government after governments don't do it. So when Akufo-Addo became president, there was a big call on him that at the end of the Mahama administration, where we were talking about corruption and anti-corruption, it is important to show commitment to the anti-corruption fight. Civil society led the charge. Akufo-Addo decided in his own wisdom, thinking with his people, that, okay, let's create another office that can have prosecutorial powers. That is not the Attorney General, so that the complaint that the citadel of corruption is usually the government actors, the principal government actors are the perpetrators of corruption. And because the Attorney General, who has the mandate to prosecute, is one of them, he's unable to prosecute them. So Akufo-Addo was trying to cure this menace that we will have an independent special prosecutor. In his wisdom, he thought that if a government A is in power, it is better for the independent special prosecutor to be drawn either from neutrals, truly neutrals, or perhaps even the opposition. Yeah. And that is where the purpose of the bill will be served. So in his mind, he started talking about Martin Amidu. And he discussed this Martin Amidu with former presidents, Rawlings, Kufuor, John Mahama, they were all aware that he was thinking about this process. Okay. So because the process was well thought through, this conversation about the authority of the special prosecutor vis-a-vis Article 88 came up big time. And the Akufo-Addo administration, together with Parliament, went around it and cured it. The cure has been provided. So if you look at Article 88 itself, it says that the Attorney General shall have ultimate prosecutorial powers. But Article 88.4 says that the Attorney General shall authorize other people to do prosecution. So the Article 88.4, which gives the Attorney General the authority to prosecute, itself does not give him an exclusive authority. However, any other authority must come through the Attorney General. It says other people. So if you look at the trajectory of the OSP law, Act 959, Section 78 thereof, talked about how the OSP's law can be enabled by having other people to prosecute, by having other, by claiming authority.
Control room is telling me my time is up.
No, you can't say the time is up. They can't. They have to wait. They can. This is very important. This is really important. That's really important. So Article 17. I'm not being NDC and PP. I'm just showing you the trajectory of the law, which is very important. Yes. So in 78, I've not said anything. I'm actually agreeing with Sam. So I'll come to that. You will hear that I'm agreeing with him. So 78 says that under the OSP Act, he will take authorization from the Attorney General. That's what 78 says. So 78 limits the OSP that you need authorization from Attorney General. Then the Attorney General goes to court and passes LI 2374. In Regulation 11 thereof, the prosecutorial powers of the OSP has been granted in the LI. It's been granted. So Samsai comes up and says that Parliament cannot grant prosecutorial powers to somebody. It is true, because he's saying that prosecutorial powers has been granted in the Constitution. The Constitution is a higher law in connection with Parliament's law, if you look at Article 11. So Parliament cannot vary, that's the word he should really be using. Parliament cannot vary the prosecutorial powers of the OSP. That's Ramsay's firm position, and that therefore there has to be a constitutional amendment to grant the OSP that. But he has not looked at Regulation 11 of LI 2374, which LI was passed by the Attorney General, the existing Attorney General, to allow the OSP to prosecute. So the OSP's prosecutorial powers can only be withdrawn if
this kind of Attorney General or the Office of Attorney General.
The Office of the Attorney General.
Okay. Because you said existing Attorney General. So I thought
I mean the existing law 2374. So the OSP can be, if you want to remove his prosecutorial powers, LI 2374 is the Attorney General can withdraw it. If he withdraws it, the OSP will need prosecutorial powers. But then let me come to the politics. At the beginning of 2025, when John Mahama was sworn in, if you call journalists, 10 of them, and ask them that, which institutions do you think the NDC is going to undo? They will tell you the Chief Justice will go. They will tell you the Electoral Commissioner will go. They will never tell you the OSP will go. Because the NDC never complained about the OSP. No. Dominic Ayini went to vetting, 4 hours of vetting. He never complained that when he was a ranking member, he had disagreed with Act 95. He didn't complain. The complaints of the OSP started because the NDC has become, or the NDC is showing a lot of political intolerance, which is dangerous for our politics. Can I finish, please?
I'll come to you.
Yeah, can I finish? Now, I'll explain why I'm saying the NDC is showing a lot of political intolerance. They didn't complain about the OSP. They complained about the Chief Justice. Processes were undertaken to remove the Chief Justice. They complained about the Electoral Commissioner as institutional. Asienuketa, you know the one who interviewed Asienuketa when he said the Electoral Commissioner must go? Yeah. Yes, so they complained about it. The reason why they are complaining about the OSP today is because of the OSP's indicative independence to politicians. That's what they are seeing. They saw the OSP do it to MPP. They enjoyed it. They were happy about it. They have seen that this OSP is not shifting. He will do the same to NDC.
So how come when they got a petition under a CJ they appointed, they gave him, they said he can still continue?
That was a decision taken by the CJ. And if
CJ appointed by the NDC
yes, if I have to remind you, get to talk on dismiss a petition by Ken Crunchy on Kisi Ajabi.
I'm saying that, so yes. So
that has happened before.
But if NDC wanted to remove the Kisi
Ajabi, because the Chief Justice is independent, he's going to make the decision.
Are you saying the Chief Justice is NDC?
No, I'm saying
that the Chief Justice, the point you are making is good for our democracy. We have had two independent...
Let me ask a question. Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
You have said that the NDC is looking for a way to remove Kisi because they have seen that he can do the same thing he did to
he will investigate them, yeah.
I'm saying that they had a fine opportunity in a petition brought to the president, which was sent to the Chief Justice.
They didn't have any opportunity. How do you say they have an opportunity there?
No.
That decision is made by the Chief Justice. It's not made by the president.
When was the Chief Justice appointed?
So if you are appointed by
Get to talk on who was appointed by Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
Yes. Get to can I finish, please? I'll come to you. Get to talk on Hamza, I need to answer your questions. Umaru.
Yes.
Get to talk on who was appointed by Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
So if we are having this conversation 3 years ago, you would ask me that is it not Akufo-Addo who appointed Get to talk on?
Yes.
But Get to talk on, as a seasoned lawyer, took an independent decision that the application before her did lack merit, and dismissed it. Chief Justice Bafo-Money is an independent Chief Justice. He's not an NDC apparatchik. He's an independent Chief Justice. The Constitution makes presidents appoint Chief Justice, that's all. So the decision to save Kwesi Ajabe on the petition was a decision made based on law, made by the Chief Justice, independent Chief Justice.
Without any political colorization.
Absolutely, that's what I will see, because that's what happened before. Get-to-Talk-On did the same thing. In fact, Akufo-Addo appointed Get-to-Talk-On amidst controversy that he has gone to bring an MPP judge. When the application came for Kwesi, she dismissed this. And Bafo-Money has done the same. So I don't want you to impute. I don't know why I'm surprised why you are surprised. That the Chief Justice has always been independent. We have had Chief Justice ruling against government. So that part of our democracy has been saved. And we should keep it. I'm really frightened if we are beginning to think that Chief Justice appointed by President, so he has to do. No, that's very dangerous. So the Chief Justice did that. So that's not NDC. NDC didn't do that. NDC's opportunity was in Parliament. That's where they had opportunity, and they did. And they brought up a bill in Parliament to remove Act 959, which would have just undone
the chief NDC person said,
and then the president said that you can't do that. Now, when that was triggered by the arrest of Martin Pebu, the Parliament had been there. Mahama Ayariga had been leading the Parliament since 6th January 2025. He had not brought up any OSP issue. On one fine afternoon, he calls Parliament and says that I want to withdraw the OSP. Why? Because he has arrested Martin Pebu. If he can arrest Martin Pebu, who was a member of Oral, and who is therefore an important member to the NDC, then what can he not do with Kwame Abuja on Big Push? What can we not do with trade? What can he not do with Lands Ministry? Kwesi Ajabe can do anything. Now they've announced that there's a 73 billion amount of money that's going to Big Push. Kwesi Ajabe can pick up an interest in it and say that I want to look at this. And that is what they are afraid of, because they are not confident that in the end they will end up like Cecilia Dapa. They are not confident. Cecilia Dapa was prosecuted by the OSP. In the end, she ended the way she ended. Innocent. They are not confident. No, Nanado had left when she was declared innocent. They are not confident. The NDC is not confident that if the OSP's tentacles come on them, that they will survive it. I'll come to you. They know that they will not survive the OSP's tentacles the same way Cecilia Dapa survived it. They know they won't survive. And they don't have the temerity and the patience of the NDC and the democratic of the MPP, the democratic credentials of the MPP, to allow the guy to do his work even if you disagree with him. That is his work. Allow him to do his work. MPP allowed him to do his work. Even when we all disagreed with him, we all were confident that Cecilia Dapa has done nothing wrong. I didn't know before. I went to Cecilia Dapa. She gave me the account. I said it on TV. She's done nothing wrong. It came out that she's done nothing wrong. Not just by OSP, by the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. This is the confidence of the MPP, that we are not corrupt. You can bring OSP. You can bring CID. Bring everything. In time, it will show that we are innocent. These people cannot claim that they are afraid. They are so afraid of OSP. They are so afraid of investigation. They are trying to boot him out. He will not be booted out. OSP will survive. Civil society will protect him. The court will protect him. And he will investigate. And we will see who has stolen Ghana's money.
Very well. Thank you. Hamza, you have 2 minutes. In fact, our director of program has graciously given me extra time. So you have 2 minutes each to respond to. And then we
interestingly, he has just confirmed that
yes, you also have 2 minutes, yes.
I am competing with 2 NPP stalwarts in this
team. We are giving you Arsenal for.
Yes. No, but he just said we are not corrupt. We in the NPP are not. But I didn't force it.
Yeah, but we are not corrupt. Yes. We are not.
Yes. So you see, Umaru.
So it's an imbalanced panel. That's what
of course it is. But I can.
Hamza is strong.
Let me give you 3 minutes.
Hamza is strong, and Hamza is quite honest. So even if you put him to 10, he will survive.
So I'll give you 3 minutes and give Kamal 1 minute.
Both he and his brother Hassan, they are very honest.
Yes. You see,
Paulus.
Umaru. First of all, you see, I was not the one who said that the last regime attempted to influence the work of the OSP. It is this current OSP who indicated that. Before him was Martin Alemisi Amido, who indicated that Nanado himself was the mother serpent of corruption because he had created an institution under the cloud of independence, but behind the scenes was attempting to influence. And indeed, we all saw it manifest when Cecilia Dapa was before the special prosecutor. And even this current special prosecutor had to complain about certain machinations behind the judiciary that made it difficult for her to go after Cecilia Dapa, compounded by the love letter Nana Akufo-Addo wrote to clerk Cecilia Dapa. These are the facts. Again, my brother makes the point that, this one is Kamal. He makes the point that, the Chief Justice did not establish a prima facie case in relation to OSP. That is true. But you cannot compare that to what happened against the Chief Justice. Because it is not the job of a Chief Justice to establish a prima facie case in relation to another Chief Justice.
No, of course.
It has been given to a different arm of government.
I'll give you 1 minute.
And the facts and petitions that were presented for the removal of the former Chief Justice in content and in form different from that they presented for the removal of OSP. And like you indicated, if this government wanted Ajabing out of office, I'm pretty much convinced that this government would have been able to go about it in a way that would have made it practicable.
So the parliament way, the president stopped it.
Please, yes, so that should tell you the orientation of the government and the objective of the government. Who is the leader of the government? It's the president. Regardless of the persuasions you have about the work of the OSP, the buck stops with the president. And he took a decisive decision, and many of us supported it. Today, when people are raising issues of Article 88, even the special prosecutor that he claims is independent, and because he's trying to do his work, we are trying to prevent him from doing his work. Even that so-called special sorry for the use of the word so-called. The special prosecutor, Ajabing himself, when he was being vetted, raised issue with Article 88.
That was cured by LI 2374.
Please. Oh, can I?
No, he raised the issue before the LI.
Please.
So it was his issue at vetting. But I made that point that there were discussions about how to resolve this.
I have read LI.
Let me show you where the LI was passed. No, it's an important LI.
If you go to the IOCO Act, the executive instruments, you find a provision similar to the LI is referring to.
Yes.
And that is why I made the point that from the word go, the law did not make it independent as were promised under Nana Addo.
LI has done it.
And that is subjected the authority still to the Attorney General. Why you would still need that authority.
But that has been cured by the LI.
It is not.
You need to read the LI.
It is not. You see,
LI 2374 regulation 11.
Can you allow me to make my point? Can you allow me to make my point? You see, don't do that. Let me make
the LI is important. You are hiding it.
You see, I'm not hiding it.
Bring it out.
I'm just telling you that the fact that you have an LI that says that after investigation they can prosecute does not constitute authority.
Oh, how?
It does not.
What else does it?
It does not.
But the customs and the police is LI.
Paul, this LI that you have just, we discussed it extensively last week on the big issue here.
And the conclusion.
And this Regulation 11 just says that the special prosecutor can decide whether to prosecute or not.
A matter or not.
Yes. It does not amount to saying that
he has the right to appear and prosecute in court.
The deputy AGs came on Benner's show, and the discussion is that they need a warrant which is express, which is given to the office that says you are by this warrant. That's why co-warranto came up in court. So you have a warrant, and if you read the judge's 26-page judgment, he said that there's no warrant, and I asked them, and they had no warrant.
But do you know high courts have disagreed with that? Another high court has disagreed with that.
But
that's what I'm saying, that the deputy agent's work cannot be sacrosanct.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying that
the deputy agent can completely misunderstand the law. One side deputy agent, therefore, deputy agent said, therefore, that's the end of the story.
I'm not saying that's the end.
The deputy agent is wrong. The deputy agent is manifestly wrong.
It's two against one.
The deputy agent is manifestly wrong.
I'm not just using the deputy agent. I had Hassan Tampoli here in studio with me last week. He was head of NPA. He said they were given an express warrant by the Attorney General to prosecute on matters relating to the downstream petroleum sector. So to the extent that you don't have an express warrant, it becomes a problem. And that's what the legal luminaries have argued.
Let me take 30 seconds of your time. Let's remember that the special prosecutor... Let's remember that the special prosecutor went to vetting.
Yes.
The MPA boss doesn't go to vetting. IGP doesn't go to vetting.
Okay.
It has to mean something.
Very well.
The vetting is prescribed Article 78 for high-ranking ministers of the government. The OSP was given the same opportunity. So his appointment is by president and by parliament. IGP is president alone. MPA is president alone. I'm telling you that the position of the OSP must mean something.
Let me come back to Hamza. Yes.
Senior also alleges that the NDC is afraid of its own shadow because they believe that the special prosecutor will come after them. Umaru, since the emergence of this special prosecutor and his job, the only political party that has shown that it is not comfortable with the special prosecutor is the NPP. As we speak today, Umaru, as we speak today, ministers of state in the last administration who are charged to appear before the special prosecutor are on the run. Civil servants who worked with the said minister are on the run. So it is hypocritical, on one hand, to say that you gave us an anti-corruption body intended to fight corruption, and on the other hand, on your own platform, you are there defending the decision of a former appointee to abscond from the jurisdiction of this country simply because he doesn't want to face the very institution that
Thank you, Hamza. Thank you, Hamza. Let me hear Kamal. Let me hear Kamal. Let me hear Kamal. Let me hear Kamal.
He said Xenophobic. You see,
I'm hearing Kamal. Kamal, can you do 30 seconds?
He's a man.
Thank you.
You see, the test to fight corruption must be seen by all politicians. But you see, why we say you are running, from your own shadows, or the fear of running from your own shadow is that it is your conduct when you came into office. If you say you want to fight corruption, then the very first thing you do to the people is to file nulli prosequis without explanation, to benefit your own people. Okay? The next moment, you say, we have an oral put in place and promise us on some $21 billion. I don't know if they have recovered $100 million yet.
There's an RTI to
I don't know
that they are refusing to respond.
You understand? To court. You say you recover 21 billion. Today, as we said, oral, we don't know where it is. Oral might have turned into Okal now.
What is my brother? Which one is Okal?
Okal. Operation Clear All Looters.
But Oral just did the work and they gave to AG.
So I'm saying, who has been cleared? You have cleared. Who have been cleared? Who has been cleared? Kolizada has been cleared.
Under what law?
No.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you, Kamal. Paul Adom-Otchere, host of Good Evening Ghana, Hamza Suhuyini, member of the NDC communication team. We had other guests join us in the course of the big issue today. We are grateful. We'll be back next week. I am Umaru Sanda Amado.